All right. Hey, folks, what is going on? It looks like we're live. I'm going to check my signal here to make sure that everything's coming through clearly on your end. And then we're going to do some game design today. I'll talk about that here in a minute once I get notification here set. In a minute once I get yeah, that notification sounds pretty good. It's making some feedback. Get rid of that real quick before it becomes a problem. That should be good. I need to do some social media posts real quick because we don't get the link to the live stream until we actually go live, which is why you always see those countdowns at the beginning of live streams saying, you know, we'll be starting in 3 minutes or whatever. It's because that's how much time the channel producer needs to post the links for the thing going live to promote it to, you know, the public. So I'm going through that process right now as well. So I'm going to attempt to distract you for the 2 minutes that it takes to do that with my origin story. And if you're already familiar with this, then you can catch me after the bump, and we'll get started on game design. But my name's Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games, I illustrate them, and I publish them online. And I am creating content for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition using the updated 2024 rules. It's the color mana spell point variant rule system that replaces the 8 schools of magic and spell slots that are common to the D&D role-playing game to instead use the color magic system from Magic the Gathering, which is also owned by Wizards of the Coast. They have 3 crossover settings so far, bringing Magic the Gathering into D&D. Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica, Strixhaven Curriculum in Chaos, and the Mystic Odysseys of Theros. And so Theros, Strixhaven, and Ravnica are 3 different planes in the eternities of Magic the Gathering as different realms or basically motifs or sets for cards that they put out at various years in the past. And Magic the Gathering is famous for the color mana is famous for the color mana system, white, blue, black, red, green, the 5 colors that reality is built from, that each color represents specific philosophies and aspects of reality, that when you combine the colors together and shape them, you create spells that create effects appropriate to what that color would be. Like black is famous for necromancy, but white magic is also divine and soul magic, while green is restoration and spirits. So between white, green, and black, there's a lot of different types of like revivification, resurrection, necromancy, like raising undead, bringing people back to life or reincarnating them into different bodies. There's a lot of different ways that you can use those 3 colors together to have similar effects, bringing something back from the dead, but with different flavor and effects. Like reincarnating a dead friend into a badger is far more of a green thing to do than to just simply resurrect them, which would be a sort of white magic thing to do, while raising their body without their soul as a zombie would be far more of a black magic sort of thing to do. But in all 3 of those instances, you're restoring some sort of life to either the spirit or the body of someone who's died. So magic approaches these things in different ways, and depending on what color you work in is kind of saying something about who your character is. So the philosophies of the colors then feed into the classes and like magic choices and feat and power choices that you make for the 13 classes using the color mana system. So what you believe can now be manifested through your character by using their colors of mana to trigger different class feature effects or spells. So that's what the Color Mana project does, and it's already live on the DMsGuild using the 2014 rules, but I really like the 2024 rules, and I want to update the system, and anyone that's playing 5e in the future is undoubtedly going to end up in the 5e24 game space because that's what's being published for, and to be honest, they're for the most part much better rules. And I'm loving that they're keeping updated with errata and the Sage Advice columns now to make sure that 5e24 is a living, breathing document that is going to continue to adapt and evolve as we find flaws and they get corrected, it just becomes a better game system. So I'm thrilled with the 5e game engine. Everything that I've been working in has been using 5e or D20 mechanics in one manner or another over the years. And I build all this stuff here. I have an idea for a game. I create the mechanics that go with it here on stream with you guys. I play test it on my Discord channel that you're welcome to join. And once we get to a point where the thing is solid, we flesh out all the connecting bit material, all the words and stuff that fill out the book, send it off to an editor. And when it comes back from the editor, we do page layouts and then all the artwork for the book here online. And then we publish it to the DMsGuild or DTRPG or my Patreon or wherever it's going to end up at. And then we pick up the next project and we keep working on that. So in the mornings, I do artwork for whatever project is our primary project. And right now, that's an Eberron adventure called Crystals in the Bar. You're welcome to check it out. And in the evenings, like this on Mondays and Thursdays, as well as at lunchtime on Tuesdays and tomorrow, Friday, I do game design. And for the past 3 months, I've been working on the Bastion campaign system, and that's at a point now where it needs to basically stew and get tested to make sure that it works well. And once we go through that process, we'll be able to revisit it with revisions, updates, flesh it out into the book mode to get it off to an editor. So people that have been around for that project for a while, I really appreciate your support. It's really fucking cool. Check out the Bastion campaign playlist here on my channel. But now we got that out of the way, and we've been playtesting the martial power system, which is the color mana side for martials. We're going to come back to and start working further on the spellcasters using the 5e24 rules. So that's what we're going to do today. I've got maybe 3 hours to play, a little, maybe like 2.5 or so. And if anyone was here with me on here, let me just finish fixing my screens here just so we can be done with the day. Let's flip our camera around here. And so if you think this stuff is cool, like I said, I'm here 9 times per week. So tag in and hang out. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications for when I'm live, which is frequent. Here's a slew of books that I've already created on the DMsGuild. They all have free previews, and some of them have extensive free previews. So be welcome to check out this stuff if you think it's useful and you want to add it to your campaign, or it's triggering ideas for you. Consider picking it up as a purchase after you've had a chance to read it to support similar behavior. Also joining my Patreon, where you get preferential treatment for being a playtester. You're certainly welcome. My Discord community is open to anybody for free. Here's the playlists for the color mana stuff that we've been working on. And here's the martial power playtest document that we've been using to consolidate all the information that I've been accumulating before we actually write the book. This is a read-only document. You can click into it and you can read along. Everything in this book goes through level 20. As a DM, I run 5e campaigns from level 1 to 20 in about 270 hours. I've clipped through 4 full campaigns since 2015, and I'm currently running an Eberron Spelljammer campaign using the Spelljammer mechanics that I published, along with just my own flavor of Eberron, which is a Spelljammer world. So here's the martial power system that we've ran extensively here on stream, and I've had 3 playtests. So the 3rd playtest is going on right now in a mega dungeon, and it's a full system that is complementary but completely different from spellcasting that martial characters can use. You can give up action economy to generate mana so that you can do more things more often. It's structured as a half-casting class, and it's available to barbarians, fighters, monks, rogues, as well as rangers and paladins as alternate picks to spells. Instead of being spellcasters, they can choose powers or spells freely to spend their mana pool on, because the mana pool system works the same way for both. As a half-caster, it's already built into their chassis, so it's easy. And then warlocks and artificers have unique options as well. There's also like cantrip type effects like combat masteries, so you can swap around weapon masteries to different types of weapons. Feats as powers, instead of gaining a feat at every 4 levels with prerequisites and a stat gain, we just make it something that you can prepare from a daily basis. So if I want to be a savage attacker today or a tavern brawler today, I can swap feats around. I could pick up the crossbow expert and the sharpshooter and piercer feats and become a wicked sniper if that's what is called for in our current adventure campaign. I have the same flexibility as a martial character that full casters have in building out a specific kit of powers in the form of mana cost strike and exploits, maneuvers, or as cantrips, these feats that you can just build out your character so that you can use your 4th level feat gain as a improve your ability scores, or pick up an extra feat wherever, whatever. It's up to you. You can do it as you please. I've got a 20-minute timer going to make sure I don't fall into too much of a tangent. But at the end of all this, again, this is all the barbarians is resolved, all the subclasses from 2024 are updated, all the subclasses from 2014 that didn't get picked up for 2024 have been converted. Same goes for all the fighter stuff, all the subclasses, all the Forsaken subclasses from 2014. Monk as well is now complete. The Rogue is complete. Ranger is complete. Paladin is complete. And then we get into the full casters. The Sorcerer is complete. We still have to build a list of spells for the Order of Scribes, the Warcasting tradition, and the Blade Singer tradition, because all the subclasses in 2024 get 10 spells, and none of those classes in 2014 got spells. So I want to make sure that they are on even ground with everyone else. These are all the backgrounds, the converted backgrounds to using the Color Mana system and the Bastion system for Ravnica, Strixhaven, and we're still working on Theros backgrounds for piety with the gods, but it works the same way. And then we get into the full casting class rebuilds. The Bard's basic chassis and subclasses have been taken care of, but I've got more to do. Same thing with the Cleric. Same thing with the Druid. The Sorcerer actually is finished, and you can check in our playlist for all the work that we did on the Sorcerer. It is fucking awesome. And so we started working on the Wizard, and everything about the Wizard is done except for the 2024 updates for the Forsaken subclasses. And then, so we're going to go through that process. But there was a request on my Discord channel. Since the Martial Powers playtest, it's a mega dungeon. We just hit 6th level. Until now, we've only allowed half-casting and martial characters to play. But now that we're at 6th level, I want to open that up to all 13 classes, and some folks need a refresher on how the Color Mana system works. So I promised I would devote a pinch of time tonight to look at those mechanics. So if you want to follow along on DMsGuild, here's the 5 Color Mana Spell Point Variant Rules package. It's a bundle of what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 books right now. The preview doesn't count. It's just basically a coupon to make things cheaper for you. Universal Spell Points, Knights and Tricksters. Knights and Tricksters is specifically Arcane Tricksters and Eldritch Knights using the Color Mana system, since they're unique third casters. The core mechanics, which we'll be visiting today. The Elemental Key book, which is, instead of using color mana, you could use the 4 elements of air, earth, fire, and water. Or if you want to do an elemental monk using the color mana system, it would be fire, water. It'd be blue, red, and green would be the colors that you would be operating inside of generally. Spell Point Warlocks, which has gone gold. God bless you guys for supporting that book. It just converts Warlocks into spell points using both short and long rest mana, depending if you're using Pact Magic or Mystic Arcana at level 11 plus. And then the revised 5 color magic spell list. The color magic spell list you can see here. If you click that open here in the full size preview, it describes how the color magic system, it basically is a quick crash course in how the color mana system works. What are the 5 colors? What do they generally represent as like ideas or like philosophical concepts inside of the D&D game engine in general. Like we were talking about white earlier with divinity healing, while black is like control and soul magic, where red is also healing, but like nature and spirits. It's like they have their own different flavors here. So if the theme of a spell or effect aligns with one of these or more of these colors, then it's generally going to be devoted to that color. And the damage types that are associated, there's 10 types of damage, magical damage in D&D. A BPS is just whatever, it doesn't have a color, it's just colorless. Anyone can do BPS if you pick up and swap something, but if you're using magic or if you can produce these types of damage, this is generally going to be the color. Like if you're capable of spitting acid, or you have acid for blood, chances are you're a black and or green creature. If you're built around cold, either immune or deal cold damage, you're gonna probably be white, blue, or green. Fire magic and fire effects is almost always red in Magic the Gathering. There's like 10 cards involving fire and lightning that aren't red out of the like 20,000 types of cards there are in MTG. Almost all the fire and lightning is red. So that's where you sit there. Necrotic is obviously black, while Radiant is obviously white, and Thunder is blue, red, and green. There's multiple thundered sort of effects that reflect that. Pardon the pun. Hey, Nova. Am I? No, I'm not. I got banned from Twitch because I played too much Led Zeppelin, so I got demonetized. And I wasn't making any, since I couldn't make any money, I didn't want to start over, and I was having to upload everything from Twitch to drop onto YouTube. I just figured I'll just stay away from copyright music and just post things on YouTube directly right now. So yeah, it's everyone has their preferences. I don't hate on any of them. Some people, it's just whoever you are is where you're gonna succeed. It's like. There's a lot of different ways. There's a lot of different ways to play jazz, and if you're into jazz, they're all pretty cool. But if you hate jazz, whatever. Anyway, but thanks for asking. So I've updated the spell list for 2024, and we're going to. And again, this is a pay what you want. It's free for you guys to grab it. It's still the 2014 mechanics, but to continue walking through the color process of converting D&D into MTG. Once you know what colors, so we were talking about like what type of damage are you dealing, what are some of the different aspects of magic that represent the sort of thing that you're doing, that's generally going to tell you what one or multiple colors that spell or magical effect or power or creature is generally going to be devoted to. And devoted means like alignments. It's sort of a different flair to it. Devotion is a Magic the Gathering term that generally means like if I've got like 6 cards, like if I have cards on the board and there's like 6 blue symbols to pay for all those cards, that generally means like I have a devotion of 6 to blue. But I could have like 3 black and 2 red and 15 white on those same cards. So I'd have 15 devotion to white, 1 devotion to red, 2 devotion to black, whatever numbers I said there. Just spin out examples. That's what devotion means. And that came from Theros, where the more devoted to a specific color you are, the more you're aligned with that god's beliefs. And in the D&D game, that is represented as piety, where your piety score continues to ratchet up. And since Wizards didn't convert MTG color mana system for D&D when they made those crossover books, the term devotion doesn't mean anything in D&D. So it's a good term for me to use to differentiate between alignment and color identity. So you can use color identity as your alignment, but that's the philosophy of magic, not the mechanics of magic. Devotion is the mechanics of magic. Alignment is the philosophy of magic. So you can be generally a well-built character, like a harmonized a character in harmony is going to have an alignment that is it matches their devotion. So if your general philosophies is like might makes right, there is no law but the law of the jungle. He who has the gold makes the rules. That's a sort of green vibe of power equals equals authority. Basically, that's kind of how nature works in one aspect of it. And so that kind of a character would be expected to have a lot of green mana and doing a lot of green spell effects. Or if there's white, blue, red spells that you want to be green, you would then take the time or the extra effort to convert those spells to be green because you work in green magic. It's how you vibe. But you could also have a character that's very all that might makes right and stuff, but like say have like a very green alignment, but be devoted to like say the Orzhov Syndicate, which is black and white mana only. So all these like this green vibe that you have of like how you approach life could be represented in various spells that you have that would be devoted to green. But since you're in House Orzhov, you would want to convert all those spells to be white and black magic because that's the kind of energy that you manipulate. Even though your philosophy would be that is a contradiction between alignment and devotion. So you could represent your character differently as conflicted because their heart is in green, but everything they do is in this white-black language. Similarly, if your alignment and devotion are in harmony, are harmonized, then the way that you act is the way that you operate. I have a very green vibe. I'm wielding green magic, doing green spell type stuff. So it's a fun Ludo narrative that crosses between the two. So now that we can classify what color a spell is, we can go down and look at the spell list. This is a 2014 list, but this is the 2024 list. So looking at the big list of stuff, the new sorcerer spell. What's it called? Sorcerer's Orb, Sorcerer Burst. Give me a second. Let me track that down. It's a cantrip. Sorcerer's Burst. There you go. A cantrip is a 0-level spell. It doesn't cost any mana to cast it. Sorcerer's Burst creates elemental damage. It creates cold, thunder, acid, lightning, fire, and I think poison. And so looking at our damage chart, that means that depending on how you cast that spell, it could be devoted to any of the 5 colors. So even though cantrips don't spend mana, when you cast the cantrip, you could choose to express it, say, as white magic because you're dealing cold damage, like frosty needles shoot out at your enemy. Or if you're doing like an acid blast, you could have it like green, like green ichor gets flicked onto the character and their skin starts to melt. Stuff like that. But it doesn't actually cost any mana to do it. So it's just flavor. So you could be like, I'm going to use Sorcerer's Burst. I'm an Orzhov Syndicate character that only deals in white and black mana, but I'm going to throw fire with my Sorcerer Burst cantrip. So when I hit you with fire, it's flicks of white and black flame. It burns like hell, but it looks unnatural as all get out. So you can mess around with the colors that you're using to represent the visuals of your effects. So you have the alignment, the mechanical devotion, and the visual narrative of color, all 3 of those things working together to create your unique character identity when you're playing D&D. Super deep Ludo narrative. I love that. It's such an awesome system. I am both disappointed and thankful that Wizards hasn't put in this energy because I love being the guy that made it. But God, I would love just to see Wizards just dive into this kind of an idea because this is like the problem with Wizard is that they're the baseline. They are the white toast, the white bread, the water of D&D 5e gaming. They are the base on which everything else is built, and all the things that get built on top of it are weird offshoot variants, little tangent ideas. A small group of people, this niche community likes playing mice. So let's have a 5e Mouse Ritter game. Like there's all sorts of these little different communities that all rest on the 5e platform. So Wizards' effort is to build as baseline of a game to be as universally applicable to as many types of campaigns as possible so that they don't cut off audience. But I think it would be smart of them to have subgroups, to have specialist groups. Like, I think it would be smart to have like 3 or 4 Eberron designers, bring Keith on board, and have an ongoing stream of Eberron books that are coming out. This is the 5e game engine. These are the cool things that you can do with it inside of the Eberron motif. Or like the One Ring, to There and Back Again, the exploration book with non-casters that go to level 10. That has a very deep dive, rugged survival system for 5e. That totally works. And that was a separate third-party team that took the idea of the 5e game engine and applied its niche mechanics to create a specific flavor and feel. That's what we're doing with the magic, with the color magic system. And they have a huge Magic the Gathering team. I don't know why they don't do this. But again, I'm thankful that they don't, because if they did, I would just be making content on Patreon. I'd just be making Swiftblades, and I probably wouldn't agree with how they did it. So I'm proud and thrilled to be the person that came up with this stuff, which is another great reason for me to make all these things free to view. So this is the entire spell list here. We're going to go look at the color, the core mechanics of how the spell points work. And again, this book, oh my God, I've got 5 ratings now that are all fucking 5-star. Wow, Jesus Christ. Thanks, guys. This went gold recently, which means I've only had about 500 sales, but that's pretty good for a fill. I am inside like a niche community of people that are interested in the Magic the Gathering as a D&D game space that don't want to use Vancian magic. It's like my audience is so niche, so I'm really proud and thankful for the good reviews, the purchases, and the support on my Discord channel. Thank you, guys. But that's enough breaking my own back. The entire document is here. These are keeping the original ideas, and this has been continuing to evolve. Like you can see down here, at one point, when we defined spells, each spell belonged to only one color. That was the original version that we tested with. It worked, but as I've played it over the past 7 years, come to learn that allowing multiple colors for each spell makes it a lot more inviting for people to be able to get the kind of characters that they want with the spells that they want naturally to the colors that they want to be devoted to. So if you're, again, Orzhov Syndicate, white, black, mana only, and you want green spells, if you prepare the spell, it's going to be green. So either you put green in your mana pool, or you choose a spell that's white or black, because Orzhov Syndicate's going to choose white-black spells, and that's going to limit your options pretty quickly, because there's a lot of spells that aren't white and black that you might want to use, even if you are in the Orzhov Syndicate. So what we can do is we have the rule. We have the rule, we then bend the rule. So if you're using, this is a hard magic system. There's let's say liquid versus solid. There's liquid mechanics and there's solid mechanics. Liquid mechanics are, you have a mana pool, and it doesn't matter what color it is. When you cast a spell, you just describe it as that color. Just like with the cantrips up above, if I were to cast, say, Shocking Grasp, it's lightning damage, it's a red instant spell. And normally I would have to have red mana in my mana pool to cast this. If I am an Orzhov Syndicate character that's using a solid magic system, I must have red mana in my mana pool to cast Shocking Grasp. But the Orzhov Syndicate only operates in white and black mana, so I can't have access to Shocking Grasp unless I can convert it to white or black magic, which I can do. I can either spend downtime and research a spell to be the color that I want it to be if it's not already that color. And when you're in a guild, like if you're in the Orzhov Syndicate, generally you're going to take however much mana you have and multiply it by 3. That's how much the level of the spell times 3 is generally how much renown you need to have in that guild to be able to have access to their archives, to be able to research for free a spell that exists into the colors of Orzhov. Like, your gift for doing Orzhov dirty work through level 9 is to be able to convert 5th level spells into white and black magic. All you have to do is just spend time there, and it eventually gets done as downtime activities. If you you could research new spells, but you would have to spend time and money on that, like the DMG would dictate. But if you're just converting one spell into another color and that resource is provided through your guild, that's again a free resource that you gain as part of being that guild. In Strixhaven, that is part of your library card access as a college student when you accumulate enough college credits to be 3 times the amount of the spell level. So if I 3 times your spell level. So if it's a 5th level spell, I have to have 15 credits in, like, say, Lorehold. And now I can convert any spell I want into white and red that are 5th level or below. And in Theros, it's piety. So I'd have to have at least 15 points of piety in, say, I think Erois is the god of smiths, white and red energy, kind of like Lorehold, but a different flavor. If I've got 15 points of piety, I can spend time in prayer to that god, and they will gift me with a conversion of the spell into white or red. So that's a way I can cheat spells that aren't the color that I want them to be to become the color that I want them to be. And if you want to build downtime into your campaign but not have to worry about money, using these renowned credit piety systems gives you access to that stuff, and then all you gotta do is just spend time. And we have how much time you require in the Bastion book that we've been building, which you can check out the Bastion playlist for the answers to that, and I'll eventually publish that book as well. The other way to do it is to prepare it twice. So if I'm a mage, I'm in the field, I just picked up a book, I just got Shocking Grasp into my spell book as loot. It's a red spell on Orzhov Syndicate. It's in my spell book. I can prepare it as red, but that's worthless because I don't cast black and white. I don't use red magic. So I could then learn it a second time. I prepare it, and then I prepare it again so that I learn the spell, and then I change the spell to be the color that I want. So wizards can do that on the fly, reducing their list of their flexibility of how many spells that they have, and instead get flexibility of how many of those spells are devoted to the color that they want. Because if they only have to have one color in their mana pool, they can cast any spell that they want at any time. So if you see a wizard with a fat spell book that's full of spells that are only one color, you know that is a really powerful wizard that has access to a lot of tools. So they're dangerous. Be careful. That's a tell. It's just a tell. So that's that. A liquid magic system, a liquid system allows us to, if we have a mana pool of, like, say 20 spell points, it's just spell points, just like spell points from D&D 2014 options. But you can use those spell points, and when you cast a spell, you just say that they're white or black spells if you're in the Orzhov Syndicate. It's just a narrative flair of giving you some sort of visual cue to use magic with as a flavor text thing to represent your identity. If you're using a solid magic system, then those 20 points, maybe you have to decide what color each point is devoted to. So like maybe 15 points of black and 5 points of white. And when I pick up the Sorcerer Burst, when I pick up, say, Shocking Grasp as a red spell, none of my mana is red. If I was playing a Mirrodin or, say, a Dominaria campaign where all 5 colors are available to all characters, I could slip in some red mana. So 20 points, like maybe 6 are black, 6 are white, and like 8 of them are red. Now I can use white, black, and red spells, but I'm breaking up my mana pool. So when I'm casting a spell that actually requires mana, like, say, Burning Hands is a first level red spell, as a red spell, I spend 1 point of mana. If it's a liquid system, it's just 1 point, and I just call it red. I just describe it however I want, whatever matches my character, just like you would now. But if I'm using a solid magic system, then that 1 point must be red. And if I don't have any red mana in my mana pool, I cannot cast red spells. So I have to make sure that when I'm casting spells, I'm not burning through all of one color. Otherwise, I'll lose access to all those spells until I get more mana or have a chance to convert my mana to another color. Looking at higher level spells, let's look at Fireball, the advanced version of Burning Hands. A Fireball is also a red spell, and it requires 3 mana to cast. It's also red, so I need 1 point of mana to be red. And the other 2 points can be whatever you want, but 1 must be red. Third level spell, 3 mana. Red spell, 1 point has to be red. The other 2 can be whatever you want. So in this character that does white, black, and red, if I had 6 white, 6 black, and 8 red, I might spend, say, 2 points of red mana and then a point of white mana. That'd leave me with 17 points left, and then pop, I throw my Fireball. Whenever I finish a long rest, I get all my mana back. I can decide what color each point of mana is then. Whenever I finish a short rest, depending on what kind of character I am, I may or may not get mana back. But regardless if I do or not, whenever I finish any kind of a rest, short or long, I can change the color of all mana. So full casters now have reasons to take short rests because they can budget their mana pools. I only need 4. Shit, I just burned out of red mana. No more fireballs coming from me until I take a short rest and get some of this black converted into red. I need a short rest so I can get red back in my mana pool, please. And the fighter's like, I just burned through all my shit. Let's take a short rest. That sounds like a fantastic idea. And now you don't have to worry about now you can reduce the amount of Nova-ing that you need in your game because you have spell points which are far more flexible in allowing you to cast your highest level spells more often. So your need to Nova is reduced, or rather, when you burn through your best spell, you're done for the day because your best spells are gone. Spell points don't have that problem, but they do have other problems, like your ability to spam shit. And the larger your mana pool gets, the more low-level spells you can blast through. That does become a problem. Having color management as a solid magic system, that helps take that down a notch because you have to balance your pool. Or spend a ton of time in character in game researching spells so that you don't. But that's part of your character arc, which means character development and time spent in game. Another rule that goes along with this color mana system is anything that's a cantrip. A cantrip is a cantrip, right? Rituals are generally simple magic. We'll talk about those another day. Any spell up to 5th level is considered common magic. We just went through the rules of how common magic works. Anything above 5th level is high magic. High magic is different in that you have to, like, say, what's another good one? Give me one. Circle of Death. Why not? Circle of Death is a black. Oh, there it is. Chain Lightning. Chain Lightning is a red only spell, staying in our red, black, white motif for the example. Chain Lightning is a 6th level spell. We already know it takes 6 mana, and it's a red spell, so we have to have red mana. But because it's high magic, all 6 points of mana have to be red. If you're using a liquid system and you just have a big pool of points, it doesn't really matter much. So 6 points is 6 points no matter what. But if you're using a solid magic system where each point has to be specifically defined, and say at 11th level when you get access to this, you have, say, 44 mana. Then you would have, of those 44 mana, you have to have at least 6 of it in red to be able to cast Chain Lightning. And you can see how you would quickly, like, you're really cementing in, like, at 40 points, 6 mana is a pretty big chunk of change. That's significant. You have to have those 6 points held in reserve in red specifically to throw that high level spell. Otherwise, you just don't have access to it anymore because the solid magic system, this doesn't meet the rules. You can't cast it. Time to take a short rest to get enough mana into your pool to actually be red to cast Chain Lightning if you need it. And it only gets worse as you go up higher in levels. So like a 9th level spell, like Meteor Swarm is a red spell. I have to have 9 red mana available at 17th level for me to be able to throw a single Meteor Swarm. So it has a lot of internal limits. There are limits to how many high magic spells you can cast per day. It's level 11, 13, 15, 17, and 19. You can cast 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 spells of level 6 or above. And again, they require all the same color. a 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and we have a 10th level spell slot that we allow at level 19, which is where Wish comes in, because Wish can do anything, so it should be a 10th level spell, kind of like how cantrips don't cost anything. Wishes cost the most and can do anything. So it's like you're shifting a gear from the single digits to the double digits with the 10th level. That's where Wish is at. So that's why we made that a 10th level spell, and Wish is the only 10th level spell, but you can upcast anything to 10. So you can ramp up to 10 mana on any spell at level 19, and it has to be, like, for example, this is a good, Wall of Ice. Wall of Ice could be white, blue, or green. So you need 6 points of mana that could be any mix of white, blue, or green. So if you have a character that, what is that? Is that Asban? White, blue, green. If those are the 3 colors that your character always operates in, then you'll always be able to cast Wall of Ice. That spell is just naturally devoted to your Abzan alignment. I might be getting that wrong. And maybe is that... It might be... I'm not sure. I don't know my wedges and my pies so good. I should know them. I mostly operate in the duels. Like the Ravnica, Strixhaven, and Theros dual color systems. That's where most of this is at. But I acknowledge and respect wedges and shards. Yeah. Anyway, 6 mana, 6. There you go. So it costs 6 mana, 7 mana, 8 mana, 9 mana, and 10 mana, respectively, if you're going to use your 10th level spell slot. But you don't have to. You just get, at 19th level, you just get 5 of them a day, 5 of 6th level or above. But if you were to do 1 of each, 10 plus 9 plus 8 plus 7 plus 6 equals 40. That's a shitload of mana. Is that true? Is that right? 13, 21, 30, 40. Yeah, so those 5 spells, I could cast 5 10th level spells if I wanted to, and that would cost me 50 mana, or I could cast 5 6th level spells, and that only cost me 30 mana. So it's generally going to be somewhere between 30 and 50 of your mana is going to be eaten up by your high level magic. And when we look at the magic table of how much mana we get, you can see here the spell point system: full casters, half casters, third casters at 20th level. Full casters have 80, half casters have 40, and Eldritch Knights and Arcane Tricksters, the Knights and Tricksters, they have 20 mana, and these are all in long rest. The martial power system that we have been developing, all of its characters use short rest. They gain 1 mana per level, so they get 20 mana at 20th level, just like a monk does. This is the same progression that the Spellpoint Warlock has for Pact Magic. By level 20, you get 20th level spells. 5th level spells cost 5 mana. At 20th level, you can throw 4 5th level effects, spells or powers either way, and then your mana pool is cashed until you take a short rest. So all of the martial characters are assumed to use this short rest mana system. That includes the Barbarian, the Fighter, the Monk, the Paladin, the Ranger, the Rogue, the Artificer, and the Warlock all use this short rest mana system. And again, you can devote your mana to any color that you want. It uses the spellcasting system is the same for the Artificers, Paladins, and Rangers and Warlocks that we just walked through. The power system is only liquid though, so it doesn't matter what the color is. You can always use any martial power with any color mana. Mana then for the martial characters just becomes flavor text, a narrative element. But that flexibility that they gain in not having to worry about what color it is elevates this mana pool to be more competitive with the full casters, because the full casters, if you're using a solid magic system, have to mitigate, like, what am I doing with my mana pool and what am I doing with my spells? I have to coordinate those things to make sure that they're going to work together. Otherwise, I'm going to lose access to spells that I might need. The martial characters, like, yeah, I can't crack out wishes, but I can guarantee you, as long as I have some mana in my pool, I am going to do what I want. And it's going to be, and the way that these things are built, it's incredibly difficult to stop them. So they're going to come through with what they want to do. You then have to recover from it. Like, most of the effects in the air happen whether you save or whether even if you make a saving throw or not. most of this stuff is going to impact your character no matter what. And then you have to save your way out of it. And which kind of segues into the rest of the magic system. So the martial power system alongside the magic system actually helps bring balance to all the characters so that all of them feel more like half-casters. Like the kind of flexibility and power that a half-caster has. Even though a full caster can go to 10th level spells, the amount of mana management in a hard magic or the solid magic system, it requires them to think about what are they doing with their character. It's more advanced than a very simple barbarian character or fighter. It's more complicated by nature. And this makes it more complicated if you want. If you want to keep a liquid system that it doesn't matter what the color is, you just describe it as a color just like the martials do, then the full casters will still have a decent leg up in power over the martial characters because you're taking away that state of limitation from the full casters, and the martials don't have that limitation already. So you're just getting the full casters to be able to operate as easily as the martials, but with more power. So there's a disparage there. But full casters only get mana back on a long rest, so they have to manage their pool throughout the day. Otherwise, they're going to get stuck with cantrips, and then you get back into the issue of my character's burned out of mana. I just want to go home and take a rest while all the martials are full rest, ready to go. You have to have a conversation with your full casters about how are they expending their mana in a wise manner, be a part of the team and figure out what your role is and act accordingly. Or squeeze in some martial levels so that you have a pool of mana that refreshes on a short rest that becomes valuable to you, but is going to limit your high-end power. So you're going to have to go... So again, the multi-classing, they blend together into the same pool, some on a short rest, some on a long rest, and your relative power level is going to be dependent on which character classes you choose in your multi-class. But they work together, and it's actually kind of amazing how well they work together. It's a miracle, honestly, and I'm thankful to be a part of witness of it. So, continuing on, you can see D-U-R, duration. There's only 3 types of duration in the magic system. It's instantaneous, concentration, and perpetual. So again, the book that we published is a 100% free preview. Here's a menu button that takes us back to the front of the document. We'll first look at simple durations. So instantaneous spells, lightning bolt, fireball, flash, bang. It happens. The magic's over. There you go. You cast a spell, it's over. I'm going to explain. Actually, I'm going to explain perpetual spells next because they're the easiest to explain. Persistent. Persistent spells are spells that when you cast them, they literally last until you finish a long rest. Water breathing, for instance, is a persistent spell. You cast it, unless somebody dispels it, it's going to stay on all day long. You cast it, you're done. And when you finish a long rest, instead of the spell ending, you can just choose to leave the mana that you spent to cast the spell. You just leave it spent, expressing that you're just perpetuating the spell. So a wizard could live, like a druid, could live under the sea for years, waking up after a long rest in their coral reef and just choosing to leave those 3 points of mana tapped, or those 3 points of mana spent, so that the water breathing stays active, and he just goes about his day underwater, no problem. You can do that with any persistent spell. And then we have concentration spells. Concentration spells are similar to what you expect them to be in D&D, with some notable differences. First off, you can concentrate. Your concentration is limited by your spell level. So you can cast, say, like for example, let's just grab a half caster real quick. A 13th level paladin can cast up to 4th level spells, which means you can concentrate on up to 4th level spells. The way that the color magic variant rules works is that when you concentrate on a spell, you tap mana equal to the level of the spell to cast it. It's like, let's say, Pass Without Trace is a green and I think black color spell. It's 2nd level, so you're gonna tap 2 mana, and while that mana is tapped, the spell remains active. So There is no set. It's not like it lasts for up to a minute if you maintain concentration. It's like, no, it stays on forever as long as you can't lose concentration. But there's a price. The price is, going back to our book, variant concentration rules. The price is that let me find it here. Tapping and limits, untapping, duplicating, concentration checks. Using this variant, the DC to maintain concentration is 10 plus total levels of spells, rituals, invocations, and cantrips tapped. For example, a 17th level druid using multi-spell tapping that maintains concentration can have a 17th level can have up to 9 mana for a 9th level spell, and the DC to maintain concentration is 10 plus the spell level is 19. That 19, if the 19th level druid must make, so whenever you make a saving throw, any saving throw, you risk losing concentration. For example, if a 19th level druid has to make a DC 18 wisdom saving throw against a Death Knight's command spell while the druid is maintaining concentration on 10 levels worth of spells, its DC is 20. So if I roll an 18 or 19 against the Death Knight's command effect, I resist the command, but if I didn't hit the DC 20, I lose the spell. So it's gone now. You have so much mana available to you, you can afford to lose concentration on high-level spells because you can just cast it again. So having a more hostile concentration system makes sense. And again, if you take damage, it's half the damage, or your concentration DC, whichever is higher. So if you get hit for 50 points of damage, the DC is 25. If you're only concentrating on a 5th level spell, it would be a 15 normally, but since you took 50 damage, it's now you have to hit a 25. And this is against like for example, if I throw a javelin at you, and I hit you, you're going to make a saving throw against the topple effect. Strength. It's a strength saving throw. And if you fail the saving throw, or rather, if that saving throw is lower than your concentration check DC, even if you don't fall down, you're going to lose concentration on the spell. And then if you take damage from that weapon, you don't have to save again because you're taking damage and you're taking an effect. The DM chooses which one you're going to take. Generally, whichever one is higher. So if that DC, if you're maintaining concentration on a 5th level spell, that javelin has to do at least 32 damage for you to use the damage DC as opposed to the weapon mastery DC. But in both instances, if you don't hit that DC 15, whether you succeed or not with the topple effect, if you don't hit that DC 15, you lose the spell. That curbs how flexible magic is, because instance like spamming instant spells, that's not actually the biggest problem with spell points. It's how often you can it's how many spells you can cast that require concentration on top of the persistent spells, on top of the instant spells that you can cast. That's the problem. Is how many just spells you can cast. But there's nothing game breaking about the damage that you can do with a spell. It's all the shit you can do with a spell that requires concentration that breaks the game. So by nerfing concentration spells like this, the DM can allow you to continue to do your shenanigans, but now you're being taxed by having to spend more and more mana because you keep getting dinged by traps or weapon masteries coming off of monsters or just BS like BS conditional effects. Attrition, since there's no duration on the spells other than maintaining concentration, we have attrition checks, which is depending on the frequency of a condition, determines how often you have to make a saving throw to see if you're maintaining concentration. Here's some standard conditions that could require a corresponding saving throw. Like loud or repetitive noises can tax your wisdom. You may become frustrated and lose concentration out of anger if that dude just won't stop tapping his goddamn pen. It triggers you. It drives you crazy. That's a wisdom check. And if it's severe, if it's an unnatural pencil tapping, you'll have to save every round. Otherwise, if it's just moderately obnoxious, after 2 hours, yeah, I could lose my cool with that. You know, that's the sort of idea that's there. Otherwise, there's environmental conditions like hail, being in an alternate plane of existence, being airborne with lightning strikes around you, high winds. These being underwater is just uncomfortable and unnatural to you. So these are all things that, as environmental conditions, depending on the severity of those conditions, again, this is how frequently you have to make a saving throw to see if you can just maintain concentration. Because once you cast the spell, it stays on until someone breaks it. So if you're between combat and you throw on all your concentration spells thinking that you're clever, reducing your action economy to get your spells up and running during combat, the DM could knock them all out with just a shitty trap that you just didn't check your corner and you got dinged for 3 points of damage, but you're sporting 7th level spell power, and now I just blew that spell. Now I gotta blow in 7 more mana. And if I had just waited until combat started, I wouldn't have gotten taxed like that. So that's a risk that you run for the advantage of being able to preset spells that you want to have carrying on you. It's a fun like it makes dungeon mechanics actually like traps mean something now. Like environmental hazards mean something now, because if your characters are into sustaining mana effects on them while they're maintaining concentration, those things are now at risk. And this all sucks. This is all bad news. This is worse than what the normal concentration system is. So what's the fucking payoff to this, right? Like, why would you bother doing this? It's because of the concentration mechanics that we have. Shared spell limits, duplicating spells, and multi-spell concentration. So multi-spell concentration, if you are a 17th level druid capable of casting 9th level spells, that means you can maintain concentration on 9 levels worth of spells. A 9th level spell will eat up all 9 levels, but you could also sustain 9 first level spells at the same time, which is a shitload of spells. Like you could have haste on 3 allies, which would be a 5th level spell slot because of upcasting, and then you'd still have room for, say, Guardian Spirits to be on you as a 4th level spell. That would be 9 level. You have a bunch of haste, and you have Guardian Spirits on at the same time. You could have, Guardian Spirits, 3rd level spell, the Radiant Splendor, 3rd level spell, and the Elemental, the Conjure Animals, Spirit Guardians, and Elemental Energy, whatever that spell's called. All 3, 2 of those are 3rd level, and the other one is 4th level. Using this at 19th level, you could have all 3 of them active at the same time, dealing 6d8 damage per round to anybody that steps within 30 feet of you, for instance. But the DC is 20 for every saving throw. So I'm just going to wing a javelin at you, and now your wizard, with a DC 20 strength saving throw coming his way, every round he gets hit by a javelin. How fast is that magic going to crumble? It looks cool. It's a hell of a bang if you get to drop on your enemies, but if your DM is creating combat right, there's going to be at least 1 physical stat and 1 mental stat that's going to require a saving throw anytime, any round of combat, like strength and charisma, or like dexterity and wisdom, or constitution and intelligence. Like the DM will blend 2 of those things together as either like weapon mastery stuff, cantrip stuff, or like bonus action psychic effects that creatures and NPCs are hitting your characters with to shit test your concentration DC. Because you have there's so much you can do with your concentration now. You have to be tested. Your DM has to test you. Otherwise, you're getting away with the game. You're being let off easy. You're getting all the reward with 0 risk. So it's the DM's responsibility to create challenges, traps, environmental hazards, and combat encounters that are more than anything else going to force spellcasters to make saving throws to shit test their concentration. That's the skinny of how all this works. And it only took me, how long did that take? It only took an hour Yeah, it only took 59 minutes and 32 seconds for me to explain that entire system. So hopefully that's been a fun ride for everybody. And now that we're through that, we can actually get to work. But like I said, my playtesters now have access to full casters. Some of them wanted to have a quick crash course to like, how does this color mana system work again? You can now reference this as basically a 1 hour instruction on how to utilize the mana system. And then it's just a matter of what level are you, how much mana do you have, what level spells can you prepare, and are you using a solid or liquid magic system, so you have to worry about specifically what color mana you're using, or if it's just one big pool and you just describe it however you want. So we have those different options. Blue magic, black magic, red magic, green magic. Like if you have all those rules in place for full casters, maybe you just want to play a martial power character instead. Maybe I'll just play a ranger that just leans into martial power, so I don't have to worry about messing around with all that spell stuff. That helps bring down the power level of the campaign. It's like, no, I want that power. So well, you're going to have all the responsibility and shit tests that go with it. And if that's the kind of player that you want, then they'll probably enjoy it. Like if they're willing to do all that stuff, they're like, yeah, no, actually it sounds really cool. It's like, I'm going to have all the power, and that means I have all the responsibility of making sure that I'm building these characters well. And that's like in 3rd edition, there was a huge culture around character builds, around mixing multi-level, multi-classing, and prestige class combinations to build really cool mechanical characters. This adds that element back in, especially with the martial power system where everything works together. Like multi-classing is kind of encouraged in the martial power system, because there's like, once you get the 13th level, unless you're going for subclass or class features, you've gotten access to everything that you need. That leaves a full 7 levels open for you to multi-class into something else and pick up other subclass features and just ramp like crazy. Go for it. It all works together. And you can do similarly, like you can make really cool Gish builds by blending martial power character, martial classes in with full casting classes, so your mana pool gets big and you get these rampy high-level spells along with the spammable low mana costs to all the powers that you're using. So you can blend the two effects back and forth. Like as a full caster, I only want persistent spells, or I only want ritual spells, or I only want instant spells. And then all my sustained and concentration effects are going to come through the martial power system, because I don't have to worry about concentration there. Or it can be, I want all the cool concentration spells that come off of full casters, and I'm going to rely on my maneuverability and exploits from the power system to prevent me from losing concentration. So maybe I'm willing to give up 3 or 4 levels of my full caster to have that safety and defensive movement that I get from the martial side of my build. So there's a lot of really fun ways you can blend the two class features, all the class features together. And since all 13 classes using the system are using the same mana resource, you can really lean into like building gishes that are going to blend magic and power together to make cool character builds. So I'm excited. I need to get the 2024 rules done and publish the Martial Powers book so that I can go to my Patreon and start building character kits off of Magic the Gathering cards. That's ultimately where we're going to. So, so that's that. So, variant rules here. Blade Singer. We want to give Blade Singers a bunch of spells. So, 4, 6, 8, 10. They'll get 4 at 3rd level of 1st and 2nd level, 2 3rd level spells at 5th level, 2 4th level spells at 7th level, and 2 5th level spells at 9th level from any list. This is the full 2024 legal player's handbook list of all spells not divided into their individual classes. But we also have over here, like we have all the Ravnica spells, we have all the Strixhaven spells, and then we have each individual class, like the Cleric class, the Druid class, all of them broken up separately into their own mana pools. And you can see here, this is the 2014 version, like with, what was Fizban's Tyranny of Dragons, or whatever that was. Player's Handbook, Xanathar's Guide to Everything. We got Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. So we have all the spells from all the books from 2014. And there's a lot of spells there that don't exist in 2024. So we've rebuilt the list already to be just 2024 Player's Handbook. So now we go through and look for what are some particularly blade singy type of spells that we want to give to our characters of 5th level and below. So we're going to start at 5th level and work our way down. And you know what? Immediately that jumps out at me is Steel Wind Strike. That's such an obvious Blade Singer spell, isn't it? Steel Wind Strike. Such an obvious spell for Blade Singer. Love it. Let's see. What's another cool one? Maybe Regal Presence. Pass Wall. Legend Lord. Actual Storm of Radiance. Insect. Hallow. Greater Restoration. Gesh. Dream. Dominate. Destructive. Maybe Conjure Elemental. Nah. Circle of Power is not a horrible idea. Banishing Smite might be a decent spell. What do you think? Circle of Power or Banishing Spell? Let's look up Circle of Power to see how relevant that is. If it's a good fit, it's a good fit. Good old D&D Beyond. Circle of Power. How do you do? 30-foot emanation. Advantage on saving throws against spells and other magical effects. When an affected creature makes a saving throw against a spell or magical effect that allows it to save for taking only half damage, you take no damage instead. That is a fucking great spell. God damn. That is a great spell. But it's not I think of all these, Banishing Smite I think makes the most sense for a Blade Singer. Just double checking real quick. Because they're all melee combat. They don't do range shit. If they were range shit, I'd give them a Swift Quiver and a Heartbeat. But they don't do range. So, lost for you. Let's see. Yeah, so far, none of this is jumping out. Yep. Yep, we're going to go with Banishing Smite. It's the only one that makes any kind of sense whatsoever. Let's... Is this where we're at? Yeah. Let's peel that out. As a separate dot. I love doing this stuff. I really do. Just love it. It's so much fun. Oh, that's right. I got it. I got another one that's open already. Yeah. Let's go up here into the wizard class features in case we need to check on anything. Yeah, we're good here. We'll go Banishing Smite. Let's go check. So what's some cool 4th level spells for a Blade Singer? I'm not saying no to Phantasmal Killer, but I'm kind of saying yes to Staggering Smite already. For reference sake, I have no problem with giving other, like, full casters access to Smite spells. It eats their bonus action on top of an attack to cast them. That sucks compared to what Martial Power characters can do. And just to brag up Martial Powers again real quick. Oh, wrong document. There we go. Looking at strike powers. Strike powers replace smite spells. There's like 8 smite spells. Well, there's like 26 strike powers. Anywhere from 1 to 4 mana that can ramp up to 5. At 17th level, you can put 5 mana into a strike power. And like, for example, what's a good one? Freezing Strike. Your weapon can deal cold damage and increases damage by 1 power die per mana channeled. The creature's movement is reduced by half, round down to an increment of 5, minimum 0, until the end of its next turn. So that's like a cantrip, like Ray of Frost effect. That's attached to stacking damage. So you do your normal weapon damage, whatever that is, including magical shit. You can convert it all to cold damage if you want, or just leave it as it normally is. And then you stack on additional dice of damage. And at, say, first level, you roll a d6. With whenever you roll a power die per mana, it's d6. At 9th level, it's a d8, and at 17th level, it's a d12. A paladin gets an extra die. If the paladin spends their bonus action to add Divine Smite to their strike, they'll do whatever the strike does, but also add in an extra die of damage on top of however much mana they spent. So the paladin stays in curve with what they're supposed to be able to do with an attack and bonus action in the 2024 book. But you don't have to. You could instead, every strike power can be used on hit, even as part of a reaction or as a bonus attack. If you hit something with a weapon that you're proficient with, you can expend mana to ramp the damage anytime. So a fighter, a 20th level fighter with Nick and Action Surge could potentially deal 11, roll out with Nick, could do 11 attacks in one round. And every single one of them could spend mana to ramp the amount of damage that you're doing. So like, as an option. But the paladin can always, as a single hit, can always throw their bonus action in to deal extra dice. At first level, or at second level, it's only 1 extra die. At 9th level, it's 2 extra dice. And at 17th level, it's 3 extra dice. So by the time you get to 17th level, when you can pump 5 mana into a strike, a paladin can add another 3 to it. And then at some point, you just get an extra die anyway. So at 17th level, if you want to spend 8 mana, you'll do 10 dice worth of damage, plus the weapon of damage and all the bonuses that go along with it, to whatever target you hit. And then if you crit, you can double all of those dice. So you could roll 20 dice, and at 17th level, it'd be 10. So you'd be throwing 20 10-sided dice, plus your weapon's normal damage, critted at a creature. That's insane, but that's the kind of stuff that you should be able to do at 4th tier. Again, I run campaigns from level 1 to 20 in 270 hours. I've done 4 of them since 2015, and I spent maybe 8 years playing 3rd edition above 20th level. So I'm really familiar and comfortable with throwing around large numbers, and as a one-shot, fuck-around, white room build, these things are fun. As part of an ongoing campaign, they are absolutely fun. We play tested martial powers from level 16 to 20 last year. It went really well. The biggest problem has been deconstructing it so it still feels cool at first level. It felt awesome at 20th level. We wanted to keep that awesome factor all the way down to first level. So playing a martial character feels awesome every level throughout the entire course of your character. It's like, I just want to get another level on this guy. I just want another level, please. You get so many powers. And again, they could be feats, they could be weapon masteries that you could use in any weapon, or they could be mana cost effects. And as your character gains power, they get more mana for sacrificing their action economy or their attacks. So you can build these cool characters that can spam shit all day, compared to full casters that have huge mana pools that let them spam shit all day. And they both get to the same place, they just get there differently. But overall, if you're taking 1 or 2 short rests a day, your martial is going to keep up with your full caster in power and flexibility. It's really fucking cool. But it's very powerful, so you have to be aware of that. But I will say, when you get used to playing 20th level, as a DM, having slightly stronger characters at 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th level, it isn't a problem. You already know how to deal with threats. I guess I would say that because of how much power your characters and like what kind of combinations your characters can make and how many options are just out there on the board, these mechanics are better for people that are well-seasoned gamers that are, if you're getting bored with the 5e game engine, if you figured out how you work, adding these rules on not only gives you a deeper narrative to become more interested in your characters, but then now you have the devotion mechanic with the mana pool to make building the characters and to synergize your alignment with your devotion more challenging, so that it's a more rewarding experience for you to build cool characters in the 5e game engine. That's all it took for me to want to stay in 5e forever. I love this stuff. And Magic the Gathering plus D&D, the only place you can really get it is in the 5e game engine for reals. And these are the tools that get you there. And again, these are all free preview. You can read all these mechanics for free on D&D Beyond. On DMsGuild. Again, here's the link to all the books. If you think they're cool and you want to support the effort, I'm rebuilding all of them for 5e24. Consider making some purchases. And if you think they're cool enough to buy, consider leaving a high rating, like a 5-star rating, to further reinforce to other people that this stuff works. So thanks for considering. Back at it. 4th level, right? Staggering Smite. That might make sense. I'm gonna put it on the wall. Staggering Smite. And maybe Freedom of Movement. That kind of makes sense. Let's see if there's something that's more appropriate. Stone Skin, maybe. Yeah. If Stone Skin restricts movement, then it's going to go to Freedom of Movement. Let's look at what Stone Skin does in 2024. Just to refresh our memory. Red spell, obviously, mountains. Who cares about your legacy? Wizards doesn't care about their legacy. They ignore all their own lore all the time. Until the spell ends, when willing creature touch has resistance to BPS. That's actually pretty fucking good. Boy, oh boy. Okay, let's go with Freedom of Movement for the dance narrative, and Stone Skin for the protection in combat. And again, these are 4th level spells at 15th level. When your max spell level is 8, you can maintain concentration on both of these at the same time. Yeah, so there's that. Let's drop down to 3rd. Haste immediately jumps to mind. Like, who the fuck doesn't want haste on their Gish character, right? That's just an obvious one. Prop from Energy isn't a bad pick. It's a good one. It's a good one. But is there a better one? Because you get the BPS from the Stone Skin later. This could be any energy other than BPS. That's a full package. And it only takes 7 levels for you to become resistant to basically whatever you want. It's not bad. It's not bad. But is there something... Is there something better? Crusader's Mantle isn't a bad idea. Let's look at it. Let's look at Crusader's Mantle and decide between that and Protection from Energy. That seems to be the proper course. So let's look at. I'm sorry. What was it called? Why was I chasing this? I'm sure I had a good idea. Crusader's Mantle. There you go. Give me that sweet mantle. I love it. You radiate a magical 30-foot emanation. In the aura, allies deal an extra radiant damage when hitting with weapons or unarmed attacks. And it's a 3rd level spell. It's okay. It's okay. That's not a great spell. What about Beacon of Hope? Protection from elements is sounding more, or protection from energy is sounding more and more likely. Let's just check Beacon real quick, make sure. Advantage on Wisdom saving throws and death saves. Ingrained, nah, that's not the right one. All right, protection from elements it is. From energy, thank you. So I need 2 first and 2 second. Or 1 first and a cantrip. Warding Bond. You're not a tank, but it's not a bad idea. And then spiritual weapon. It's not a horrible idea. I like it for gishing. That sounds really cool. Shining Smite isn't, you know, it isn't without merit. Magic weapon, probably not worth it. Knock. Flame Blade. Enhance ability. Blur. Blur's a pretty good one. Let's say we go blur and geez, enlarge reduce. No, that's too niche. Dancing. I want dancing. Ugh, everyone has Misty Step. I don't want to give Misty Step. Yeah, I'm gonna write down blur while I'm thinking about it. I suspect magic weapon's a waste of time, but let's check it out. Magic weapon. Touch a non-magical weapon, it becomes magical. +2 at 3rd level. +3 at 6th level. Is that worth it? Why would I care? It's a +1 bonus. It has a 1 hour duration. You know what? It has a 1 hour duration, but it doesn't require concentration. If it's listed as a concentration spell, yeah, it's listed as a concentration spell. I'm going to switch to persistent. Simply because that maintaining concentration for a +1 to hit and damage feels kind of shit. Making it persistent means that you're sporting magic weapons all. I mean, for 2 mana, you can just start rocking a +1 weapon. That's not bad. Is it per weapon? Yeah, 1 weapon. That's not horrible. I don't hate that. Fuck it. Let's give it to him. It'll cost me 2 mana and I'll get a permanent plus 3 mana. If I spend 3 mana, I get a permanent +2 to hit and damage. For a Gish, that's not a bad idea. That really isn't a bad idea. Man, I could really see Fighter 6, Blade Scener 14. I mean, you're not gonna rock the. You're not gonna be rocking 10th level spells, sure, but oh man, you're gonna have so much spam. Holy shit, your pool is gonna be so fucking fat. And you'll get second rank at 6th level as a fighter. You get second rank powers. You'll get up to 7th level spells. That's not bad. That's not bad at all, man. Pop my neck. Man, that's really cool. Okay, well, that's the Blade Singer. Let's kick on down to the Order of Scribes. I'm really happy with. Oh no, wait. We need 1st level spells. Hold on. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. What do we want? What do we want from 1st level? Shield. It's kind of an obvious gimme. I'm not ashamed to give it to you. The best mana tax ever is the shield spell. It costs you 1 mana. You got a ton of mana. You got a ton of +5 to your saving, to your hit points. Armor class. You go ahead and burn it down, man. I do not mind. Mage armor, on the other hand, sucks after a while. And that's probably something you're going to pick up if you actually think you need it. So, no. Hunter's Mark isn't bad. Like, at all. God, for a Blade Singer, Hunter's Mark sounds actually like a pretty fucking cool idea. So does Hex. Hey, Gold. Oh, the first hour of this stream was me walking through the mechanics of converting Magic the Gathering color mana into D&D. D&D, if you're a D&D fan, the 8 schools of magic and the spell slot system is the default for how D&D is used. But Wizards of the Coast owns both D&D and Magic the Gathering, so they've created a number of campaign worlds from Magic the Gathering to be played in the D&D 5e game engine. The color mana spell point variant rules that we're creating take the 5 color mana system and gets rid of the 8 schools and spell slots and uses the color mana system instead. If you're interested in that kind of stuff, you can find the entire list of books here on the DMsGuild. They've been published since 2018. I'm just updating them now for 2024 rules. And the playtest document that I'm working in right now, it's read only, but it's a Google Doc. It has all 13 classes in it and all the mechanics for the martial power system for martial characters to use mana that are meant to accompany the mechanics that are in the color mana system. So once the color mana system is updated to 2024 and the martial powers book publishes also on the DMsGuild as part of the same bundle, all 13 classes in D&D will be using a color mana system to have class features, spell, and eventually racial or creature effects, character racial effects that you can spend mana to ramp. Like Dragon Breath, for example, you could spend mana to ramp up the number of dice of damage that your Dragon Breath would do, for instance, or you could burn mana to get more uses of it. As like a very small example, or like an Owlin, you could spend mana to increase your speed. Like there's a ton of stuff you can do when all 13 classes uses the same mana point system. You can have a lot of really cool combination options. So the first hour was walking through all the mechanics for how color mana worked. At the tail end of that, we looked at how the martial power system was a little different from that. And now we're going through the 2014 Forsaken subclasses that weren't picked up by Wizards to go into the 2024 book, where we've been converting all the subclasses. And so when we finish the Order of Scribes and the Tradition of War Magic, then we're going to go into the Druid and then make sure that all the mechanics for the Druid are done, because we already finished the entire Sorcerer spell list. That's all done. So we can finish the Wizard here and then go to Druid, make sure all the class features work, and then go through all the subclasses, build those all out. Then we'll do the same for the Cleric, and then the same for the Bard. I'm currently on that playtest document. I am on page 163 of 177. That sounds daunting, but there's an entire magic system in here that martial characters can use that full casters don't have access to. So, right on. I like sorcerers with spell points, and I know my Magic Boros Legion. Boros represent, my man. Boros represent. Yeah, I love that. Boros Swiftblade is one of the things that inspired me to create the system in the first place. So yeah, if you think this stuff is cool, I stream 9 times per week. In the mornings, Monday through Friday, I do artwork for the books that I publish. And in the evenings on Mondays and Thursdays, as well as lunchtimes on Tuesdays and Fridays, including tomorrow, we do mechanics work. We just converted the entire Bastion system to be like an Acquisition Inc. ability check system and built a campaign theme around it. All of that's free to view on the playtest document. You can mess around with that. We also did the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration book last year. We did all of that on stream. And now we're updating the Color Mana system to 2024 here on stream. I'm also doing an Eberron adventure, all the artwork for that on in the mornings, but we did a lot of that work in the evenings as well. So that's what I do. I stream book production, and when it's finally finished, I publish it. And then I grab another book and I keep building. And I'll keep doing it probably till I die. You guys might actually watch me die from old age doing this shit if God allows it. So there you go. If you think stuff's cool, stick around. Let's go to the Order of Scribes, and we're going to go, again, back up to, this is the 2024 list converted properly into its devoted colors and the simplified duration system that we're using. A lot of this is just, has been inherited from, or has been grandfathered in from the 2014 system, but we continue, I've used it now for 7 years in 4 different campaigns from level 1 to 20. I've learned a lot about it. It's time to evolve the system because we've found ways to make it better over time. I just need to update the books. Yeah, get up to 5th. Now, okay, so we're working with Order of Scribes, which is about a relationship with your spells, researching stuff, gathering information, scholarly type, and you have this magical awareness with your book. So as much as I would love to have Awaken for your spell book, it's already kind of Awakened, so that's kind of redundant. That's unnecessary. Bigby's Hand, though, as a manifestation of your book's will to help you as a giant hand, that's really cool. And as a 5th level spell, when you get to 19th level, you can have 2 at the same time. Which is coincidentally the inspiration for the artwork for Concentration. Looking to get at the books here. Here's the variant concentration rules in the book on page 30, and here we see a Boros Legion character wielding 2 flaming fists of justice at the same time. What a monster! What a monster! You have to be 19th level to do that, but you can do it. It can be done. So I'm kind of crushing on the Big B hands. I'm going with it. I'm going to go with it. It just makes sense. Big B's. Big B's hand. And what else makes sense? There's not a lot of 5th level spells, honestly. Animate objects isn't a horrible idea either. Commune might not be bad. Legend Lore. Legend Lore is a kind of a ritual spell. Doesn't I don't know. Order of Scribes. Modify memory. That might not be a horrible idea for scribes. It's not quite clicking though. Scrying is in the neighborhood of it. I don't hate scrying. I'm thinking. God, Legend Lore isn't horrible though. It's a kind of bullshit spell though. These aren't always. They have such a limited palette of spells. Like finding something that makes sense and fits isn't necessarily easy to do. All right, fuck it. Animate objects. It's the only path that makes sense. And let's try 4th. Oh, you're right. Good call, man. Thanks for being around. Like Sorcerer's Response. The did you if you check down on my playlist, I went through all the Eldraine. There was like the Monster Manual supplement that they published on D&D Beyond. Monsters, what was like the Monsters of Eldraine. I think that's what it was called. I think it was like an 8-video series of converting all of the creatures in that Monster Manual into MTG flavor. I was basically looking through to see how did the Wizards team take inspiration from the Magic cards and convert them into the monsters, to see what sort of like logic they were using towards like saving throws and like ability scores tying to it, because Eldraine has like the different houses, like the different orders of paladins. It's like they all have sort of like a different a color matching in with what kind of saving throws they force. There was a good energy exchange there, and it was fun looking at how they converted CR. Like, was there any correlation between the CR and the amount of mana, like the power and toughness of creatures? How did that correspond with CR? And spoiler alert, it didn't really match up at all. They didn't care about that. But there is some cool mechanical nuggets about like different things that you would think would be black effects in D&D that you'll see on black cards. It was a fun exploration. It's worth your time if you're into that sort of stuff. Water. It's important. Gotta drink it. I got another one over here. Consolidation Nation. There. Put the hate together, and you get nothing but love. Okay, so Order of Scribes, 4th level. What are we looking at? I don't hate Private Sanctum as an option. Secret Chest doesn't sound crazy. This is an editable spreadsheet that's included with the various books. That it's just part, like there's tokens and a mana tracking sheet, and these color mana lists for each character class. It's all 2014, but we'll be updating it. The 2014 stuff will still remain available as part of the download. I'm going to basically put it in a zip folder. Like, if you want to use 2014, here you go. But Arcane Eye doesn't sound horrible. What's up? Especially legendary actions, Witch Stalker. For easier typing. Right on, man. Well, don't let me distract you from your life. I'm a really good background noise for study hall type activity, but I in no way want to discourage if you're passionate about the topic. That's the lifeblood of the game, man. So welcome to the mix. Yeah, these are the ones that make sense. Let's go with Lehman's Secret Secret Chest and Arcane Eye. I think I like those the best for Order of the Scribe. Third level, let's see what goodness is in here. I don't hate Sending. It's not a great combat spell, but this isn't really a combat character. Not so much. Glyph of Warding seems like an instant snap too. I love Glyph of Warding. What a cool spell. I love that it could be ally or enemy spell trigger effects. I love that stuff. It's so much fun. It's very 3rd edition. What else you got? What else you got? See, I think I'm just gonna go with hypnotic pattern. GH. I don't know. Maybe that's chintzy. I don't have a lot. I don't have a wide array of spells to choose from, so I gotta call the ball someplace, right? What else? I don't hate the idea of locate object. Do I want to go with locate? And I'm going to. We had locate object as a concentration effect, and that just feels wrong to me. I know it's dictated as a concentration effect in the game, but let's take a look at it real quick, because I've been eyeballing that for a bit. And I don't see the value in making it a concentration effect, honestly. Describe or name an object that's familiar to you. You sense the direction of the object's location if that object is within 1,000 feet of you. If the object is in motion, you know the direction of its movement. The spell can locate a specific object you know if you've been within 30 feet of it, or a type of thing. The spell can't locate an object if any thickness of lead blocks a direct path between you and the object. This is the kind of thing that I would want to amp up for the Spelljammer amplified spell effects, to ramp that to like, so 1,000 feet, and then like by amplifying it by one scale, or by one magnitude, would take it from 1,000 feet to 10,000 feet, which is basically 2 miles. And then amplifying it a second degree of magnitude would take it to 20 miles. And on a Spelljammer ship, that's nothing compared to the 100 million miles you can do per day. But 20 miles is close enough that you could scan for wreckage in, like, say, an asteroid field and be able to find it in a realistic time frame. So dropping the 10-minute concentration effect to allow you to basically turn it on, and if something comes within 1,000 feet of you at the normal scale, it would start to ping for you to then pursue. That's the sort of thing that's how to put it. Locate object really feels like the sort of thing that should allow you to have like a quest marker, like in a video game. Like if you have locate object on, you have a general idea of what you're looking for, and you're kicking your way through a forest, and it's a persistent effect that you can just leave on permanently. And again, persistence, but you weren't here, but the persistent spells, if it's 2 mana to activate locate object and it's persistent, you spend the 2 points and that object stays on your radar until you finish a long rest. And when you finish, and when the long rest is finished, when you get all your mana back, you could just choose to leave those 2 points of mana burned so that you could continue to have a ping out for that object. And if this were a persistent system, you could take a high level character with a fuck ton of mana and have them burn through like 20 of their mana to have like an ongoing sensor sweeping for like 10 different types of objects around you. So like you could really build an interesting bounty hunter type character if we converted locate object from concentration into a persistent spell effect. And I've kind of been geeking out on that for a while, so I think I'm going to go ahead and pull the trigger and do it. And while I'm at it, I want to look at locate plants and animals and plants again, because it's listed as an instantaneous effect, and I want to make sure that's accurate. What's up? Magic Mouth. Ooh. I like that idea. Good one. You've got it, man. You're in that space, dude. I like it. Yeah, Matt, that's a good one. That's a real good one. That's still kind of like that's so much more on flavor with the scribe than locate spells are. Oh, wait a second, let me finish my thought before I lose it, because God knows I'll get torn in like 1,000 directions. Instantaneous, huh? Describe or name a specific type of beast, plant, creature, or non-magical plant. You learn the location and distance of the creature of that kind within 5 miles, if any are present. No ramp, huh? This would seem like the type of spell you could ramp up distance with. Closest creature or plant that of that kind. Oh, and that's instantaneous. So yeah, we can leave that as instant. I'm fine with that. The locate object being persistent makes sense in this context. Maybe there's something I just missed. Sometimes I'm blind to stuff. Pardon the pun. But I don't think I'm missing it. Arcane Vigor, Augury. Nah, Augury's not really on flavor. I don't hate locate object. Oh, Nistel's Magic Aura. Hold on. Let's go revisit that. That's kind of a shitbird sort of Nistel's Magic Aura. There's like one thing in the whole book that starts with Nistels, and D&D Beyond search function can't fucking find it. I'm really disappointed in them making such a huge purchase with so little effort. But that's just me. I crap on Wizards because it's my favorite. 5e is my favorite game engine ever. And I crap on them all the time because I just want them to manage it better because it's so fun. With a touch, you place an illusion on a willing creature or object that isn't being worn or carried. The character gains the following benefits. Mask. False Aura. No, this one isn't really appropriate. No, not Nistels. I think I'm just going to default to locate object. It's not awesome, but I don't think there's no really any, I don't see any better choices, honestly. Like Arcane Lock is such a nothing thing to use. Animal Messenger isn't really flavored right. Just doing a last sweep. Yeah, sometimes it just doesn't matter that much. Look at object it is. Why not? And now we have 2 first level spells. That'll probably be easier. Illusory Script seems pretty obvious. Identify isn't horrible. Comprehend languages is awfully on the nose. That again, that's another ritual though. It almost feels like a ripoff to give it to you. What are you saying? But to make sure you're just pulling 2024 spells, or are you? No. I'm not converting 2014 spells. I'm just taking the 2024 spells. As Wizards expands the palette of spells with additional supplements in 2024, we'll be adding those as well. Like the all spells from 2014 is here. Like Tasha's Cauldron, everything, Xanathar's guide, guide to everything, etc. Give me something else, man. SCC, Strixhaven, Curriculum and Chaos, SCC. So yeah, we have all of them in here. Spelljammer, Adventures in Space, Air Bubble, right? We have them all in here. So as 2024 matures and they add more spells, we'll be adding those to the list as well. So, but for now, we're just limiting ourselves to the 2024 Player's Handbook palette. That's just the way we do. So I'm thinking illusory script and comprehend languages, you know, for the win. There. On to Tradition of War Magic. We start with 5th and work our way to 1st. Let's remind ourselves what's the cool stuff we can do with Traditions of War Magic. Arcane Deflection. When you're hit or fail a saving throw, spend 2 mana to use your reaction to re-roll the attack or saving throw, keeping the new result. Tactical Wit. When you give yourself bonus to initiative roll equal to your intelligence modifier, minimum of 1. Level 6. Power Surge. When you finish a short or long rest, you gain a magical charge called a Power Surge. When you cast a spell that deals damage, you can expend your Power Surge to deal additional damage equal to half your wizard level. You can regain your Power Surge charge when you succeed a saving throw against a spell by expending 3 mana, no action required, or successfully ending a magical effect by casting either a counterspell or dispel magic. 10th level, Durable Magic. While you maintain concentration on a spell, you have a +2 bonus to armor class and all saving throws. And with the way that we use stacking concentration with the concentration saves, that's super fucking useful. And then Deflecting Shroud is when you use your Arcane Deflection feature above, you can cause magical energy to arc from you to damage up to 3 creatures of your choice that you can see within 60 feet. Each target takes force damage equal to half your wizard level. And again, it costs 3 mana to recharge that when you fail a saving throw or you use counter magic or dispel magic to shut something down. So it's a fun counter magic, close range AoE sort of foil effect is the kind of vibe I'm getting from it. So if we're able to maintain that vibe, we can play around with some ideas. We gave Blade Singer Steel Wind Strike, and this isn't as much a martial character as kind of a more keep away from me, I'm going to control you. Like Yolanda's Regal Presence probably isn't a bad idea here. That's a strong contender. I don't hate the idea of Wall of Force or Synaptic Static, honestly. Let's go revisit Synaptic Static, because that might actually be a really good one. All right, I'll try it. Let's go with Synaptic. Let's see what you do. Okay, cool. You figured it out. I am pleased with that. You cause psychic energy to erupt at a point within range. Each creature in a 20-foot centered in the point must make an intelligence saving throw or take psychic damage on a failed save. Damage is 6-1. Failed save target is muddled. Has muddled thought for 1 minute. During that time, it subtracts D6 from all its attack rolls and ability check. Oh yeah, that's actually a really good war. It's actually a really good fit. That feels like a War Magic vibe. Synaptic Static. Yeah, good find. Go us. So that one's good. Let's see. I don't hate Rary's Telepathic Bond for the battlefield utility. It's not a horrible idea. I don't hate Destructive Wave. Conjure Volley might be more on theme. No, that you have to fire an arrow and then it does the thing. That's not on point. Circle of Power might actually be a good fit for this character. Let's go revisit that. I know we looked at it for the Blade Singer, but I think this is Wisdom and saving throws in general. Circle of Power. Let's revisit it because I bet this is going to be a good one for the Warcaster. Remind me. 30-foot emanation. You and allies advantage on saving throws against spells and other effects. And when you make a saving throw and you succeed, you take no damage. Yeah, Circle of Power is fucking boss for this guy. Wow, that's sick. Fucking sick. I like that one. Okay, level 4. What are we looking at? I mean, you kind of gotta like Udalik's Resilient Sphere. That's just kind of fun. Maybe for hallucinatory terrain for war magic. That's not a bad idea. So. War Magic Wizard wants quality concentration spells to take advantage of the bonus AC and saving throw effects. Right. Along with all the mana you're using as reactions. Yeah, I think that's true. Hallucinatory terrain, though, shaping the battlefield isn't bad, and it's a persistent effect. That feels good. But I like your points. I think you're right. Fire Shield might not be a bad one to tack on. I think that's honestly probably a really strong contender. Yeah, let's go with that. Let's go with Fire Shield and Hallucinatory Terrain. Wait, we already got one. No, we don't. Yeah. Double checking. Wall of Fire instead of Hallucinatory Terrain. Wall of Fire is nasty against crowds. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do Fire Shield and Wall of Fire. It's a lot of fire coming at you. But that's just kind of how D&D rolls, right? Oh, God, I don't know. Ivard's Black Tentacles is a mean one, too. Kind of leaning towards Ivard's now. Those are my top 4 picks. Let's check out. I know Ivard's is a zone control with restrain and crushing effects. I honestly haven't looked at Fire Shield since 2024, so let's invest some energy there. You gonna do the thing or what, buddy? Thank you. For fuck's sake. Get after it. Pitter patter. Wispy flames wreathe your body for the duration, shedding light in 10-foot radius. Additionally, the flames provide you with warm shield or chill shield as you choose. Warm shield grants resistance to cold damage, and chill grants you resistance to fire damage. In addition, when a creature within 5 feet of you hits you with a melee attack, the shield erupts with flame. The attacker takes damage or damage. Doesn't feel strong. So, Wall of Fire and Ivard's Black Tentacles. Let's do that. I see where you're coming from with that banishment. I think if it had a little bit more focus, like War Magic to me feels like AoE, and while banishment is obviously a single target, and so I think. Like everything about the War Mage is about general and allies on the battlefield or affecting multiple foes within reach. So in that sense, I think Ivard's and Wall of Fire are the best picks. We're gonna go with that. You can fight me over it if you want. Ivard's Black Tentacles, because I mean, after all, I'm just a guy. This is just my opinion. Fire. That's Zapod, you know, he's just some guy. He's just a guy. Wind Wall also has a lot of merit to it. Sleet Storms, boy oh boy. Sleet Storm, Stinking Cloud. What you got? Oh, duh. Counter spell and dispel magic. You literally have a class feature that requires the use of counterspell and dispel magic. That option happens to click in at 6th level, right after you would gain access to counterspell and dispel magic. Therefore, counterspell and dispel magic are the spells that you should have at 5th level. That kind of just folded into place, didn't it? Where'd my bits go? There we go. Yeah. Painfully obvious. Keeping up that concentration to make... Yeah. No, you're thinking in the right spaces, my man. There's a lot of different ways to play jazz, you know? A lot of different ways. So yeah, that was obvious. Dispel magic, counter magic, obvious. Super web. That's another great concentration AoE effect. Well, I'm playing Curse of Strahd, and I'm playing a Divine Sorcerer, a Selesnyan Divine Sorcerer in the Curse of Strahd campaign. Our entire party are siblings that are all devoted to Selune in Forgotten Realms, which is the goddess of the moon and magic. So my Divine Sorcerer converted to 2024 using my Sorcerer spell point system that's in the book here. I'm 6th level, and I've got Guiding Bolt. It's 1 mana. It's fucking 1 mana for 46 damage at long range and gives advantage to somebody else. Our entire party has Guiding Bolt. Obvious. It's just like such great spam damage, but like being able to twin it. That's awesome. To be able to pop off 2 of those, that's super worth. But I use web all the fucking time to try to lock down targets so that our enlarged paladin can just basically Hoosier stomp on it. We also have an Echo Knight that that throws its echo into the web next to the enemy. That's super fun. Yeah, so web is a really, I like web. I like spike growth too. God damn, those are really good. If this was a tanky character, warding bond would feel good, but wizards ain't tanky, so I'm shying away from that. Is there something more? Is there something more pimp than those 2 spells? Because those are some super sexy pimp spells. Crown of Madness for the concentration effect. That's not bad. That might actually be a blue spell as well. Insanity stuff kind of goes towards blue. In a Cthulhu sort of way, you know? But I think the black represents it pretty well. Yeah, I think those. I think these are good picks. Spike growth and web, those are nasty, man. Let's do it. I love that those are both green spells. It makes me happy. Like green wizards, they got some green man has got some kick to it. It's got some cool shit. Okay, let's go down to level 1. I mean, even Witch Bolt's not a bad idea. Thunderwave is also pretty good. Fog Cloud is a legit decent spell. It's got that AoE concentration stuff going on. That jives. Hold on, I feel like I missed something. Yeah, the Entangle. No, Entangle's Entangle's single target, isn't it? If Entangle is AoE, that I'm taking it. What time is it? 8 o'clock. I still have an hour. 20-foot area. Each creature other than you. Yeah, Entangle, that's a good one. That's a good one. All right. So Entangle, Fog Cloud, Thunder Wave, and Witch Bolt. I think Witch Bolt only affects one target. So let's drop Witch Bolt. Thunder Wave is a good one. It's an instant spell effect though. Yeah, I think Entangle and Fog Cloud, because there's so much green. Look at all this green. Like, we're cherry picking Druid for crazy over here. But I'm good with it. Entangle, Fog Cloud. Yeah, I'm good with it. Oh, and since we don't have the 8 schools of magic, right? We only have the 5 colors as the schools. We have we just finished Wizard, by the way. So now we can move on to Druid. But the tradition, we have the 5 colors as traditions. The tradition of green magic, green savant, choose 2 wizard spells, each of which must be no higher than level 2. Add them to your spell book for free. These spells are devoted to green magic for you in addition to their native colors. Whenever you gain access to a new level of spells in this class, you can add 1 additional wizard spell up to the max level spell you can cast as a wizard to add to your spell book this way for free. In addition, the cost and time spent to research to devote a spell to green magic is halved. And if you're using either Strixhaven or Ravnica, your Strixhaven College or your Ravnica Guild will give you free access to their libraries so that you can convert any spell you have access to the colors of that college or that guild if you belong to them. It's just time spent as downtime, which can be, days, weeks, months. It can take a while. And that's part of, if you build downtime into your MTG games, that's a fantastic way for you to represent, basically time invested in the campaign world to accumulate like role-playing options and like contacts and quest givers while you're logging this time. I've got an itch on my back. While I'm logging this time in the libraries, researching spells, so you can take any spell that wouldn't normally be in the colors of your guild to then be able to basically sculpt and relearn them so they are the colors, so that over time the limited colors that you have in your mana pool have access to a wider array of spells, which we spent in the first hour of the stream. We spent a lot of time talking about all that process. So it's there to take a look at. 3rd level Flock of Familiars. You have the Flock of Familiars spell prepared, which doesn't exist in 2024, so we need to update that. But you have the Flock of you have the Find Familiar spell prepared, and for 1 green mana, you can use the magic action to cast it without material components as a level 1 spell that requires concentration. You can upcast this spell, summoning 1 additional familiar for each additional point of green mana to a maximum of 10 when you reach 19th level. You can command 1 familiar with a bonus action, and you can see through 1 familiar at a time. So you might not need more than one at a time, but you can cast it immediately. There it is. Or you can have multiple familiars running around. So you can have a whole bunch of eyes on a whole bunch of friends within different ranges to be able to like really lean into that greenish animal companion sort of energy that green has going for it. Summon allies. You always have the summon beast and summon face spells prepared. Whenever you cast either spell by expending only green mana, it gains the benefit of upcasting without expending additional mana to do so. Let's again review. I think the upcasting process is that you get to keep them for a long time. So let's look up summon Fae to see if I'm right or not. It's been a while since I've looked at this, so I want to revisit it. Oh, use the spell slots level for the spell's level in the stat block. So we can upcast. I need to change that language. It gains the benefit of upcasting to the maximum spell level gained as a wizard without expending additional mana to do so. So your allies, you spend 3 mana on, what is this? Summon Fae is a 3rd level spell. You spend 3rd level and you're a 19th level wizard. You're going to be sporting a 30 plus 9th level. At 19th level, you'd be plus 10. It'd have 130 hit points. It becomes super fucking beefy. Super tanky. But again, if you lose concentration, it's just fucking gone. The benefits of upcasting. Expend only green mana. It gains the benefits of upcasting to the maximum level spell level gained as a wizard without expending additional mana to do so. Yep. 10th level shape changer. You always have the polymorph spell prepared, and whenever you cast it on yourself by expending only green mana, the duration is persistent until you decide to end the effect. And again, persistent spells don't require concentration, and they stay on until you finish a long rest. And if you want to stay the shape that you're in, you just leave the 4 points of mana spent and you don't shift back. You can expend an additional 4 green mana as a magic action to change to a new form without ending the spell to recast it, even if your current form would normally not be able to do so. In that 14th level, focus summoning. When you maintain concentration to sustained summoned creatures, green mana tapped to do so doesn't count towards your concentration DC to a minimum of DC 10. So you can have your summoned allies on and maintaining concentration to keep them up. Let's see. When you maintain concentration to sustain summoned creatures, green mana tap to do so doesn't count towards your concentration DC to a minimum. So I could have like at 14th level I can cast up to 7th level spells. Oh wait, no, that doesn't work. Hold on. I like the idea that it doesn't get in the way. However, when you maintain concentration to sustain summoned creatures, green mana tap to do so doesn't count towards. No, that doesn't work. Because you could spam out infinite creatures. You'd still doesn't count towards your concentration DC, but you still have a maximum amount of mana that you can spend. You can expend. Hold on. Whenever you cast either spell by expending only green mana, it gains the benefit of upcasting the maximum spell level gained as a wizard without expending additional mana to do so. Get out of here. I like the idea of being on upcast. So I'm spending mana. I can spend a lower amount of mana to have a higher level effect. I want to limit the effect to still be your maximum. Gains the benefit of upcasting to the maximum spell level gained as a level you have gained. You have gained as a wizard without expending additional mana to do so. But it still counts towards the maximum. Whenever you cast either spell expending only green mana, you can do so as a 3rd level spell. You can upcast the spell. Upcasting the spell counts towards your maximum spell limit of concentration, but you only expend 3 mana. Upcasting. See, you always have the summon beast and summon face spells prepared. Whenever you cast either spell by expending only green mana, is summon beast also 3rd level? Your 2nd level. By only expending green mana, upcasting either counts towards your maximum spell limit as usual. Counts towards your maximum spell limit. Upcasting either counts towards the maximum level of spells, the maximum number of spell levels you can maintain concentration on at once without expending additional mana to do so. That's the language I was looking for. And then when you maintain concentration to sustain summoned creatures, when you maintain concentration, when you have used the summon allies feature to cast either summon beast or summon fae, the green mana tapped to do so doesn't count towards your concentration DC. Doesn't increase your concentration DC. That's the language I was looking for. So now if I'm a 19th level summoner and I throw down a 10th level summon face spell, I only have to spend 3 mana for it, and I can ramp it at 19th level all the way up to a 10th level critter for 130 hit points, blah, blah, blah. And with this benefit, although it would be the only thing I could maintain concentration on because it's eating all 10 of my spell levels to maintain that I can disperse amongst concentration, the DC remains 10. It doesn't actually increase my concentration DC. So, minimum. And if you're maintaining concentration on a cantrip, it's a DC 10 because it's 10 plus 0, right? Minimum of 10. That actually works. It's fucking sick, but that's kind of what that's kind of like what green magic's all about, right? Massive trumpy creatures that's easy for you to afford, but we're still respecting the concentration limit, but we're just making it incredibly easy for your character to maintain concentration. It may be so easy for your character to maintain concentration that it's possible that you might not even break concentration. Hold on, wait for it. You get advantage on Warcaster, but you don't gain proficiency. So you'd have to spend a feat to become proficient. But we're gonna hit you with every type of saving throw. That's part of the that's the DM's responsibility, is to constantly shit test casters with different types of saving throws to make sure that their unlimited concentration doesn't just run rampant throughout the game. You have to shit test them to have them earn the right to maintain concentration for however long they want by passing their saves. Unless you're like a 13th level monk, you don't have proficiency in every saving throw, so chances are 2 out of 3 times you're going to get dinged with something that you're probably at best going to have like a +3 on your saving throw. So that still means you have on like a 6 or below, like you still have like a 1 in 3 chance. Even with this massive advantage, you still have like a 1 in 3 chance of failing your concentration check when you're throwing down allies this way. Oh, but I like it. That's one example of that's the green magic. And we have red, and we have black, and we have blue, and we have white. And some of these, with the new 2024 rules, we've implemented some new ideas in here, but they're all basically themed off the stuff that's already in the 2014 books that we have here. But we've just updated all for 2024. I'm still assessing some of these things, but this is part of the process. And this is why we have Mega Dungeon playtests. But yeah, so the Wizard is done. And the Sorcerer is already done. The Sorcerer in here is fucking cool. I am very, very proud of this. This is going to end up being its own document, like a separate PDF, like a $3 PDF or whatever, like its own thing. But all the Sorcerer subclasses, we've got like 22 different metamagics. And similarly, you can stack metamagic effects. The Sorcerer has a max sorcery limit. That's a half casting progression. So by the time you're level 17, you can tack on 5 levels worth of metamagic effects. And metamagic effects only go up to 4th level. And there's only one of them, which is Maximize Spell, which is instead of rolling dice, you just automatically get the result of whatever your maximum die roll would be. But there's a bunch of 3rd level effects and 2nd level, and most of these things stack together really nicely. So it's it's some fun stuff. And you combine your sorcery points with your mana pool. So instead of like for example, let's hit the hamburger here to go to the front. A full caster would normally have 80 points, right? Here's your progression from 1 to 20. And the Sorcerer, the way that this was originally set up is that the Sorcerer has its separate pool of 20 points that gets added on 1 point at a time on top of this. So like at 2nd level, you'd have 6 points. And at 3rd, we'd have 11. At 4th, we'd have 16. At 5th, we'd have 21. Etc., 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 until at 20th level, Sorcerer would have 100 points. Well, when we rebuilt it here for 2024, we just fully integrated the set so that you start with 3 mana at 1st level instead of 2, and you end with 100 mana. And when you when you prepare a spell, you can choose to learn a spell or a metamagic. There's no distinguishment. They're all considered the same preparation. And there's 22 different meta magic options. So if you wanted to, you get a total of 25 spells over the course of your character. You could just load up on 20 some odd different meta magic effects that you could apply to cantrips, the couple spells that you chose for yourself, and the stack of spell effects that bonus spells that you get from your subclasses. So you'll still have a pretty wide array of different type 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I don't know why I have 11, but apparently the Aberrant Sorcerer is supposed to have 11 of them. For whatever fucking reason they did that. Anyway, whatever. But yes, you get a shit ton of bonus. You get your bonus spells just like everyone else gets. And 1, 2, aid, not odd. Aid. Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I don't know why it gets 5, but whatever, wizards. Anyway, yeah, so you can just stack up on all these meta magics and just dump your entire mana pool into modifying cantrips if you wanted to. Super fucking fun. Or just pick out a couple select spells or just focus on your bonus spell list and then just dump all your mana into ramping those spells. But you're ramping like at second level, you're limited to 1 mana meta magic effects. At 5th, you can have up to 2 mana of meta magic effects, either 2 first rank or 1 second rank. 9th level, up to 3 first, 1 third, or a 1 and a 2 combo, 4th, 5th, etc. So super fun, super fun. And we rebuilt all the subclasses so they actually use the innate sorcery feature. So that while you're using innate sorcery, you get these things, and then we give you means of being able to use it multiple times. You can expend mana to regain uses of your innate sorcery until it becomes permanent. And you can expend uses of the innate sorcery, like you get 2 innate sorcery per day. You could throw those away to get extra mana, so you can replenish your mana by expending your innate sorcery. And when you're out of innate sorcery, when you use your bonus action to trigger it, you then spend mana. So you can't just rat a bag of rats and get infinite mana from it. No, you can get mana from it twice, and then from there you have to spend mana to activate it each time. So it has a balance point inside of there that sits even with the arcane recovery feature that the wizard has. So in truth, you actually have 110 mana over the course of your 20 level character. But then the paladin in this system can use lay on hands to give you mana back as well. At 20th level, they can give anybody 20 mana if they expend all their lay on hands. And the artificer can create power stones that store mana. And we have mana stones as healing potions in the game that you can either shatter the crystal to get the mana that's held inside of it as a consumable item, or you could attune to the crystal like an iron stone. And that permanently gives you additional mana that comes back on a long rest. And each one of them, and to do that takes attunement. So obviously an artificer can attune up to 6 things. You can just have a shitload of high rank mana crystals. That's like a whole collection of mox crystals to really ramp up the amount of mana that your artificer has. There's a lot of fun ways to fuck around with the class features to give you extra mana in this system. It's super fun. Super fun. But yeah, the sorcerer is completely done from head to toe. And technically the document it just needs a little refining, and I could publish it. But all the information is sitting inside of this document here. So just take advantage of it if you're interested. And that takes us to the Druid. And the Druid is only partially completed. We've updated all of the 2024 subclass options for the Druid. We haven't done any of the Forsaken circles yet. I need to grab Forsaken language. Give me a second here. Sorcerer subclasses. Forsaken subclasses. There we go. Copy. Pull this up here to Druids. These subclasses were published in 2014 rules, but not updated for 2024. Below the conversion to both 2024 Player's Handbook and Color Mana Mechanics. Go. So the ones that are actually in the 2024 book are updated, but we don't have the full stack of class features listed out here. Generally, originally we were only posting the mechanical changes that are impacted by the mana system, but I realized that I can actually just reproduce all of this, drop it into the book when I publish it, so it's thorough. So the entire class chassis is all right here for you to conveniently read once the document goes live. Hey, there's Tex. What's up? I have a lot of creatures to manage. It's fun though. It's fun. I do the same thing with my games of sorcerers. Really lets them flex with that. Hell yeah, man! I'm glad we're on the same wavelength there. It's so fun. It's so fun. It's like I said before. Wizards is like the plain water white bread of 5e. Like what they let you do with the game engine is minimal by design because it's the foundation that all other 5e stuff sits upon. So it has to be bland as fuck so it can fit the widest array of campaign options and still make sense. They throw in some cool flavor text stuff here as examples with the subclasses and things that they do with the with character options, but they really rely on niche audience third-party content producers like myself and so many others to dive down these rabbit holes of, you think that's cool, well try this instead, and they don't have to invest in that. I think it would really be worth their time to invest a team to permanently get serious about converting MTG into D&D, but until they do, I get to do my shit, and I get to wear the feather in the cap of being the guy that came up with this stuff. So, I'm happy to pick up their slack. So, setting all modesty aside, let's get into looking at the Druid. I still have like a half hour maybe. I can at least deck out. I can at least make sure that all the class features are correct, and then that'll probably finish today. But then tomorrow at lunch when we come back in, I'll start building out the Forsaken subclasses for the Druid circles. Get all those done, and then we'll do the same process for the Cleric next week on Monday and Tuesday, and then hopefully we'll get that resolved. And then on Thursday and Friday next week we can resolve the Bard. And then all 13 classes will be fully updated for the entire system. All of it will be in this document. And then from there, I think from there we start restructuring the books, peeling them apart, deciding what stays inside the core mechanics versus what gets exported to supplement books. Here's a thing that I do on the DMs Guild when I build these bundles, like the original cost of the book is $12.95, right, as a standalone book. But if you bundle it with all this other stuff, it's $10. So I shave off $3. Knights and Tricksters normally $5. I trim it down to $3.50. This is basically just some concepts that I put out before the full books were created. It was $2. I make it 50 cents just for whatever. The Universal Spell Points was $3. I make it $2. Point Warlocks, it was listed at $2. I put it for $1. Revised 5-color mana spell list was $2. I put it at $1. Overall, it's $30 worth of books, which I dropped down to $20. You save $10 on it for a 36% discount, and arguably every single one of these books is useful and provides more options to utilize this sort of a system, and they're all free preview. So like this is pay what you want. You don't have to buy this if you don't want to. This is pay what you want. You don't have to buy it if you don't want to. This one might be pay what you want as well. Hold on. Let me verify that. Yeah, this is pay what you want. You don't have to spend any money on it if you want. So if you grab this for free and then went into the bundle is now $1 less. So instead of $19, it's now $18. This one is also pay what you want. So now it's $17, and this one is also pay what you want, and that brings it down to $16.50. So, but again, they're all 100% free preview. You can read the entire book. You can run entire campaigns using this before you decide whether it's worth it or not. But generally, if you end up using this for an entire campaign, chances are I'm adding value to your life. So a lot of times, I'll see on my sales reports, I'll see Point Warlocks gets picked up for free. And then there's basically like a 1 in 3 chance that within 2 days the entire bundle gets purchased except for Point Warlocks, which tells me that 33% of the people that look at Point Warlocks ends up buying all of this. And Point Warlocks is a fucking gold medal bestseller. 500 people have chosen to pay for this book because they decided it was fucking worth it. That feels so good. That feels so validating that what I'm doing is actually, it's a small audience. But for that audience that's looking for this shit, I'm hitting it. I'm absolutely hitting it for them. And that is, I don't need fame, fortune. I've got a good day job. I've got a blessed day job that lets me do this stuff with plenty of time to spare in my life. It's amazing. I have a golden life that I can produce books like this that people could opt into buying, and they do just because they want to show appreciation. Fuck, that feels so good. It feels so good. So yeah, all this shit's free to view. Sorry, I'm ranting. I love MTG plus D&D so much. And it infuriates me how little effort there is from the company that owns both of them and from creating a community around it. So like, if they really think D&D is under monetized, they should really get some MTG people to start fucking playing D&D with a better effort than Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica, Strixhaven, and the Theros books. Like, they could go so much further down the rabbit hole. This is me ranting and hating on Wizards because you hate on the people you love the most. And by God, I love these games so much. So I'm going to try to stop geeking out now and get back to work. Forgive me my passionate rant. I just can't fucking stop. Okay, so we're looking at spellcasting. We got spellcasting. You can swap all prep spells when you finish a long rest. Otherwise, let's see. Spell casting works as detailed. Because I'm not going to type out all the spellcasting mechanics. Fuck off. As detailed in the 2024 PHB and the color mana spell point core mechanics. On DMsGuild.com. In addition, you can swap all prep spells when you finish a long rest. Easy enough. Hey, what's up? Hey, Steve. It's good to see you, my guy. Thanks, Gold. Appreciate it. Hey, Steve. It's good to see you, my guy. Watsy properly managing a property? Couldn't be our timeline. Man, it's all I can do is dream. And just, if no one else, that's what I do, man. That's like, if there's an idea there and no one else has done it, like that's an indication. If I've had this idea and it's not out there, I should put my nose to the grindstone and fucking make it happen so that it does exist. Like the Spelljammer combat and exploration stuff that I built, the Bastion campaign system that I built, the Theurgy ability check casting. That's something other people have done, but I like how I approached it. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that we've built here for 5e that helps fulfill different styles of gameplay that is niche, but I just wish they had it. Anyway, everything is as it is. My wishes are already coming true because I get to do it. So I'm not gonna poop on myself for that. So level 1 Druidic, Druidic, fine, whatever. We're gonna include language here. Spellcasting. Let's go with. I was talking, I think, yesterday in the morning about this one. about being concerned about the having to spend time to build out more martial power dungeons. Well, the wandering monsters have not been generous to the team when they go back to town to dump all their gold for XP to come back with another level. That gives a number of weeks for monsters to toothpaste squeeze up from the lower levels to the higher levels. And I'm really excited about the different monsters that are waiting for them in areas that they had previously conquered as encroaching wandering monsters, because they're interested in like the narrative of what's going on further into the Underdark beneath the Sorin temple that they found. And it just gets weirder and weirder the further into the Underdark that you get. And so some of that stuff is starting to bubble up to the surface of the dungeon. And so they'll probably spend 2 sessions just digging their way through monsters to get to where they once, where they were before, so they can start accumulating more gold to gain another level. And that's going to give me plenty of time for me to add enough buffer of additional levels that I should be able to stay ahead of them through 10th level. And at our current rates, I think it's realistic that we'll hit level 10 probably late August, maybe September. And then we'll start doing Strixhaven Mage Tower competitions to playtest 11, 13, 15, 17, and 19th level. We're playing Street Tower, which is a smaller battlefield with only 3 instead of 5 characters. And that's right. Once we finish out the Druid, the Cleric, and the Bard here, we're going to start building out the mechanics and rules for playing Mage Tower, like Street Tower, and 3x3 skirmishes that can be PvP matches. That the DM becomes the referee overseeing the match, and all the rules of the game will dictate what the characters are allowed to or not do inside of the game, inside your campaign. So it'll be a good opportunity for for players just to build different type of character kits at high level to like White Room theory test broken builds, and then throw them at each other in Mage Tower competition to try to score points against each other, either by outmaneuvering or killing each other to clear the way to be able to score a point. And then and after each point, when you're reset, if you got killed, you'll come back, and it'll just be you start over again. So it's just competition based. It's just to match numbers, and to give opportunities of like 3 players versus either a DM as a PvE scenario, or if you have 6 players at your table, you can break them up into 3x3 teams to compete against each other and see if they can build synergized teams that have like themed mechanics to score points and stay alive against their opponents. I'm really looking forward to it. I hope it ends up being as fun as the initial team, the group of people that are playtesting on my Discord already. There was an initial positive feedback from them about that's a cool idea. So hopefully when we build out the rules that gets executed properly, it ends up being as fun as we hope. So, and then that'll be a separate set of rules. Druidic, Sacred Language of Druids. You also unlock the magical communication with animals. You always have to speak animal, and Druid. That was not the right course of action. Where the hell am I? Oh, that kicked me down to the bottom of the document. Hold on. Oops. Did through all the traps, all the XP gains. This is my mega dungeon cliff notes on how to build encounters using the BX style of converting treasure to XP for 5e24. It's pretty straightforward, and we start at level 3 and level 6 now. It's going pretty fucking good so far. We have the 4E monster templates, the artillery, brute, controller. I don't know how I ended up down here, but since I'm here, I'm kind of just talking my way through it. The 4 elements magic paradigm instead of the color magic paradigm, which will be a separate. I think I'm going to use Creative Commons and put that out on ttrpg as a separate thing, using the same basic mechanics but converting everything from the 5 colors into the 4 elements instead. Oh, cool! Now we're back in the wizard, so where we're at. But yeah, that's on my agenda to do, to make a campaign world themed around the 4 elements and blending them together into para and quasi elements as your mana energy, like blending air and earth mana together to create like dust effects. Like those would be dustmen, you know, cool shit. And then you build your world. Then you build, like, I've had a number of my ongoing campaign world in 3E was all elemental gods. It was all elemental magic, and it was all elemental focused monsters, and that was super fucking fun. So if I were to build out my own 5e clone game, I would be borrowing liberally from these different mana ideas, but converting it all with different language, again, into the 4 elements instead of the 5 color mana. So, work in progress, man. It's work in progress. We're gonna get there. We'll get to everywhere we're supposed to be eventually. This is where I was supposed to be at. You know Druidic, the secret language of druids. And you always have the speak animals prepared. You can use Druidic to leave hidden messages. You and others who know Druidic automatically spot such a message. I can leave that off. See PHB for additional details. I can do that and simplify my life a little bit. Let's go back here. Primal Order. This will be something we'll want to dip into. Copy, paste, cut, paste. A lot of level 1 shit. I've been on stream so long, I've outlasted my music selection. Primal Order. You hear that? There's no music. It's because I ran through my entire playlist. I think I have about 2.5 hours worth of music. I use Epidemic Music. It's as long as I have a subscription to their services, I can use any music that I want. It's kind of like Spotify. It's a little bit more limited, but I've been thinking about switching over to Spotify. But I legitimately just enjoy the music that I have on Epidemic, and I haven't had any real big motivation to change it. Primal Order. You have dedicated yourself to one of the following sacred roles of your choice: Magician, Warden. Let's see how these mechanics work. Now. 1, 2. Buckle my shoe. That's good. Magician, you know 1 extra cantrip from the Druid spell list. In addition, your mystical connection to nature gives you a bonus to your intelligence or canon nature checks. The bonus equals your wisdom modifier. You know 1 extra cantrip from the Druid spell list. In addition, you can add your wisdom modifier to intelligence. See, so I admire the flavor text, but I am not a flavor text guy. I am very much a dry mechanics. You figure out the flavor that goes with it. Train for battle. You gain proficiency with martial weapons and training with medium armor. See, I don't even need to include train in battle. It's whatever. You just have this proficiency. The end. Wild shape is extensive. You can cast hold on. That's Wild Companion. Yeah. And then let's do. Wild shape. You gain the wild shape class feature as detailed in the player's handbook. Because I'm not going to write all that shit out. That's just too much plagiarism. In the PHB. In addition, you can regain. In addition, if all uses of this feature have been expended, you can regain. You can use the feature again by expending 2 mana. So you can whittle down. You can just like the Dungeons and Dragons movie, right? The druid chick when she was doing the recon mission. She changed animal forms like 8 times. And let me review number of uses. You can use Wild Shape twice. You regain 1 expended use when you finish a short rest, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. You gain additional uses as you gain levels, as shown in the Wild Shape column in the Druid shape below. When you reach certain Druid levels, you number chosen form. Where's it talk about switching forms? Rules. While shapeshifting, while you inform, you retain your personality, blah, blah, blah. Game stats, objects. It should have in here. Let's see. You can't cast spells, but shapeshifting doesn't break concentration or otherwise interfere with a spell you've already cast. Temporary form, game statistics, known forms. You stay in that form for a number of hours equal to half your druid level or until you use Wild Shape again. You have the incapacitated condition or you die. You can also leave the form early as a bonus action. So every time you use Wild Shape, even if you're already Wild Shaped, you can use it again, but it's going to burn a use of your Wild Shape feature. The amount of times that you can even do it with this system caps at 4. And I'm pretty sure what we saw a fly, and then a mouse, and then a hawk, and then a bird, then an axe beak, and then a deer. Is that it? 6 times? It would have been impossible for that character to do that using 2024 or 2014 rules. But I think you would only have to be 5th level. Wait for it. Let's go find out. Hold on. I could be. First off, let's reference the CR. So I could know up to 8. At 8th level, I could have, okay, at 4th level, I could have up to 6 known forms. So I'd be able to pull that off at 4th. Max CR is 1/2. I'm pretty sure the highest CR creature was the Axe Beak. So let's look at an Axe Beak real quick, because I suspect that's a CR 1/2. Here's hoping. CR 1/4. Hell yeah. CR 1/4. Hell yeah. All right, so CR1 fourth, 6 shapes known, 4th level. And using our system, a 4th level druid has, how about that? 12 mana. It changed form 6 times. They are literally 4th level. That druid in the D&D movie could have been a 4th level character. Spent, actually she wouldn't have had to spend all of her mana because she has, 2 uses of wild shape for free at that point? 4th level? Yeah, it has 2 uses of wild shape, and you have enough mana for an additional 6 uses. So she could have changed a total, she could have used wild shape a total of 8 times in one day. And I'm pretty sure in that encounter she only switched forms 6 times. But it could be up to 8. So while the D&D movie did not track to what you could actually do using the D&D rules, using my rules you actually could. I'm going to wear that as a feather on my cap as well. I am very excited about that. But yeah, that's how that is. Hey, what's up? Yeah, no kidding, right? Archdruid. Those guys felt like 4th level to me, man. Yeah, I think I'm gonna take that as another bragging right. I can't help myself. It's just I feel I've never walked through the math on that. I feel a victory has been attained. So let's keep at it. This will be the last thing we do tonight, updating the druid, and then tomorrow at lunch we'll come back and we'll start working our way through the Forsaken circles. Wild shape, we got it. Yeah, baby, we got it. Wild companion. Druid subclasses, that's okay. Wild resurgence we have. During your turn, you can expend 2 mana to regain use of your wild shape feature. No action required. And you can sacrifice a use of wild shape to regain 2 mana. No action required. You can cast Find Familiar as described in the player's handbook by expending a use of your wild shape feature. You gain the wild shape feature. In addition, if all uses of the class... No, wait. We're going to stifle that. We're going to make it... We already have that, so I didn't need to do this. That's probably why I skipped it, because I didn't actually have any modifications at 2nd level. But at 5th level, then by 5th level, we can expend 2 mana to regain use of wild shape. No action required. And we can sacrifice the use of wild shape. Is that what happens with Wild Resurgence? Once on each of its turns, you have no use of wild shape. You can give yourself one by expending... Oh, hey, you know what? I'm going to take back all my bragging rights because apparently we had the ability to expend spell slots. Generally, when it says you can expend a spell slot, what it means is this feature costs 2 mana to use. And the reason why we say that is because... hold on real quick. Yeah, I'm all patting myself. I can still be happy that our system jives, but it already jived. Let's look at this. So we're at 20th level. And we're looking at spells, right? We got 4, 7, 10, 13, 16, 18, 20, 21, 22. You can have a total of 22 spell slots. And you're not gonna spend a 9th level spell slot to cast animal, to wild shape, but you could. But with our 2 points of mana, that's going to be at 20th level. We'd have 80 mana. You could wild shape up to 40 times and blow your entire mana pool doing so. With this, it would only be 20 sometimes, but you can see that in that comparison, it can't be 1 mana. That's too liberal. 4 mana at 2nd level is too expensive. Even at 5th level, 4 mana is too expensive. The right place is 2 mana. I'm going to take a quick tangent here. Because where I got that calibration from is let's look at the Ranger. Now as a reminder, if you use your 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th level spell slots, it's 40 mana out of your 80. And then with 2 mana a pop, with 20 uses, Wild Shape, you would still have, you could spend all of your mana except for your high magic, and then still have room for your 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th, 10th level spell slots. A half caster has 4, 7, 10, 16, 18, and at 20th level has 40 mana. So roughly all the spell slots would technically be 36 mana at 2 mana per spell slot, but we round that up to 40 mana. So when a feature like Wild Shape or something like that shows up on a ranger or a paladin that can like Channel Divinity, like the Paladin's Channel Divinity, that's a first level or second level gain, but it costs 2 mana to regain a use of it if you already expended all of them. That was calibrated off of the 20-ish spells that the half casters get per day. So just break that pool down into 20 uses. 40 divided by 20 equals 2 each. So 2 became the benchmark for first tier things that you could do to regain use of them. Not all of them, like Action Surge is worth a lot more than 2 mana, but Wild Shape, Innate Sorcery, stuff like that, it doesn't really scale up heavy like Action Surge does, so it retains its initial, like Channel Divinity generally doesn't get much more powerful than it is, so it can afford to stay at second level. And if you just want to build a spam machine that all it does is just punch out Channel Divinities all day, then that's a unique paladin build. You're welcome to do that. Just like with these druids, we could just lean into and just crank out Wild Shapes all day, and it's totally valid. So, but they already built that into the class. I think that's a great addition. That is a very smart addition. I keep forgetting that they had done that, because these are things that we've been doing for years. So like for 6 years we've been doing that. So anyway, I obviously dislocated my own shoulder along with my pride and taking too much credit for that shit. So while Resurgence is good, let's grab Elemental Fury while we're here. There might not be any changes to it, but for consistency and thoroughness, we want to have it in here. Elemental Fury. Elemental. I see some text. Hold on. I'll get to you guys in a second. What does this do? The Might of Elemental flows through you. Who cares? You gain one of the following options of your choice. Potent Spellcasting. Add your Wisdom modifier to the damage you deal with any Druid cantrip. Primal Strike. Once in each of your turns when you hit a creature with an attack roll using a weapon or a beast form's attack in the Wild Shape, you can cause the target to take an additional d6 damage, choosing when you hit. I like that. And then Improved Elemental Fury at 15. Let me get this updated, and then I'll catch up with you guys down below. I don't need your flavor text. Thank you, though. Yeah, I'm fine with that shit. Sub? Oh. Oh, right on, Goldie, man. It was really cool to hang with you. Hey, Nightmare. Oh, yeah, I did answer my question. There you go. Glad. Hey, Nightmare, how you doing? The first hour of this stream has had me break down all the mechanics for Color Mana. I know you're asking about that for building a character. It was an hour diatribe walking through the mechanics and pointing them out in the book, but it's all there. It's all there for you to consume. And obviously, if you have any questions, just ask me down in the Discord. When you cast a druid cantrip with a range of 10 feet or greater, the spell increases to 300 feet. Jesus Christ. That's some Spelljammer distancing, dude. Holy crap. Wow. Okay, so we can scale that up using spell amplifiers in the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration supplement that we have published down below. For one spell slot with an amplifier, we can ramp that to 3,000 feet. It's a half mile. And then with a second level spell slot, we can ramp it to 30,000 feet, which is 6 miles. That's crazy. That is crazy. All right. Fuck off. Whatever. I'm not going to worry about it. Epic boon. We don't mention that. Let's just grab this block so we can transfer it in. Make sure that everything's just looking right. Yeah. Level 19 epic boon. Blah, blah, blah. Epic boon. Blah, blah, blah. Epic boon. Blah, blah, blah. Burp. Burp. And then this will finish the session. No. Yes. You gain the following benefits. You gain 1 expended use for free when you roll initiative. Nice. Nature Magician. You can convert your uses of Wild Shape into a spell slot. Choose a number of your unexpended uses of spell slots and convey them into a single spell slot, with each contributes 2 spell levels. Oh, how about that? I didn't realize, but it looks like this is being self-referential for what we've been doing. We gained that feature at level 1. If you convert 2 uses of Wild Shape, you get 4 spell slots, contributing 2 spell levels. Not bad, but I can eliminate that because we got it at first level. 20th level to get a first level feature. Isn't that just WotC's way to be? They don't understand their own game engine. The primal magic that you wield causes you to age more slowly. For every 10 years past, your body ages only 1 year at the end. Okay. All right, that's good. And now we'll be moving on to subclasses, but I've been at this for 3 hours now. It's been 3 hours almost exactly. It's time for me to cut. So I'm going to, 3 hours and 8 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and cut loose for now. Yeah, we're good. I've already updated the Druid subclasses that are from the 2024 Player's Handbook, so these are all good to go. And we converted the Circle of Land into the 5 colors: plains, islands, swamps, mountains, and forests. And so here's the spells that you get at each of those levels. And we have Natural Recovery, the Nature's Ward, assigned by color type. There's your damage resistance table stuff. This was a fun one to convert, honestly. Super fucking fun using MTG language on the Circle of Land Druid. Moon Druid's good to go. Actually, I don't have all the features fleshed out. I have most of the feature for Circle of the Land fleshed out because I had some heavy lifting to do. But the Circle of Moon isn't largely changed. I need to come back through and add in all the features just so they're all there for your own reference to make it easier for you to digest this stuff. And then I'll have to make sure that I think Circle of Stars, everything about Circle of Stars has been updated. It means unchanged. Like when I say it remains unchanged, I'm just going to actually grab the language and just copy paste it so that you know it's unchanged. Yeah, so I'm going to have to, and then Circle of the Storm, I think every class feature has been revised. Yeah. So this one's truly done. I put an exclamation point generally next to things that I know are truly done. Land Druid is truly done. So we have to make sure we flesh out everything in Circle of the Moon, flesh out everything, and I've got some simplified language here, so I need to paste that stuff in, and then that probably means we're not going to get into the Forsaken subclasses until probably Monday. So we'll do that. Oh my God, I'm having a putty emergency. I gotta cut stream, guys. I'm sitting here dancing in my chair. I will catch you all in the morning and at lunch in the afternoon to continue this work. I'll see you guys then. Oh my God.